What is up, everyone? Give me one moment. Hello. How the hell are we doing, everyone? Welcome. Lightfall go burr indeed. We are so close. Can you guys believe we are in the month that Lightfall comes out in? You know? That's wild, you know? And it's hard to wrap my mind around, personally. How are we doing, everyone? Welcome. So yeah, we're gonna go over the weapon tuning previews, and then the TWAB, and then we're gonna break down the one second. Lightfall Collector's Edition lore. We always do live readings of the lore. We've done it since Shadowkeep. It's always been a really fun tradition here on the channel, and we're gonna do it again. So I'm pretty excited about it. What flavor today? This is the coconut one. I don't remember what it's called. Give me one sec. It's also see-through because of my green screen. It's oh man, it's a really good one. I can't believe I forgot the name of it. Tectones something. Tectones Tropical Twister. It's like coconutty. It's really good. Yo, what's up, everyone? Get yourself some exclusive emotes, a raid boss next to your name, a chant, and a green name. What is up, everyone? Sorry, one second. Let me just check this real quick, and then we can get started. Just waiting on some peeps. Let's do it. Yo, you received your collector's edition. I got my notification today. So I'll probably get it in about a week. And as always, I'll do a video opening as well. The lore is actually a lot easier to read with scans, so we're gonna read the scans. That way you guys can just see what I'm reading as well. And then I'll do an opening live as well. Not live, but I'll record it and I'll make a video of it. It does seem to be kind of smaller than usual, I guess. Maybe smaller is not the right term, but maybe a little bit more compact than usual. So like a lot of the puzzles, we'll talk about it as we go through it, but there's fewer puzzles, I feel like, and we still don't even know if there is an ARG. I hope there is. What is that thing, by the way? I don't know what that triangle is. Anyways, so very excited. Very excited. The soundtrack will probably drop here. Let me give us some background music. The soundtrack will probably drop. It usually drops the week prior. And last time we did a live listen to that as well. So maybe we'll do that again. We'll just do a stream where I just run strikes and listen to the soundtrack. And I think I even started to cover one of the songs like on stream last time or something. So, but hell yeah, I hope everyone's doing great. David, thank you for the 43 months, by the way. Maybe they're moving the ARG to be more accessible. That would be cool. I hope that is what's happening. I just don't want the ARG to not be existent, obviously. Like I think that's one of the most hyped times of year. They always do a great job with it. And we've had one the last 3 seasons, or 3 expansions, 3 years. I don't think there's one for Forsaken. But I think there was one for vanilla Destiny 2, I think. Destiny 2 ARG Collector's Edition. I think there was, but I don't remember. You know what's awesome is if you Google Destiny 2 Collector's Edition ARG, it's all my videos. And thumbnails. Let's go! I'm the guy! But, that's pretty cool. You love the Lightfall symbol? Yeah, dude. Everything about this expansion looks so good. The strand symbol is the best looking element symbol, so. What's an ARG? ARG stands for Augmented Reality Game. So that's what it kind of used to stand for. And so now it is essentially, it means like any sort of Easter egg that spans multiple devices, that sort of thing. And so like an ARG in Destiny is usually, hey, go to this website, collect these codes somewhere here, and you'll unlock something. They usually do them for expansions and games. There was a huge ARG before Destiny 1 ever launched. There was an ARG going into Rise of Iron called Owl Sector. I think vanilla Destiny 2 had one. And then there was definitely one for Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, and Witch Queen. So Bungie is no stranger to ARGs. And they're always a lot of fun. I'm a big fan. Call of Duty's done them before. Call of Duty, I remember one of the Black Ops's. Black Ops 3, I think, had like a TikTok or a Snapchat ARG, I think, where you would like find Snapchat codes in game and you'd scan them and it would take you to like a secret Snapchat account. All sorts of stuff. ARGs are like so good. Oh yes, there was an ARG with Warmind. Yes, to get a real life spear one, and I have such a tragic story about that actually. So we were. I was so jealous. One second, let me pull this up. So I was helping. The channel was a lot smaller back then. It's during Warmind, so maybe like 5,000, 6,000 subscribers, something like that. Warmind, Valkyrie Spear ARG Destiny. Yeah. So this is sick. And so I was starting to get into it. There was a little lock and key in game here. It's really hard to see. It was in Rasputin's bunker, and it had a series of keys, and you had to do all of them. And when you unlocked all of them, there was coordinates. And in the coordinates, it was coordinates in New York. I think it was like in Rochester or something. I forget exactly where. There's this little thing, and the person who found it got a real life goddamn Valkyrie spear, like a real life one. And then there were also these. It was like a geocache, so they were like Warmind coins. So my tragic story here. My tragic story is I was solving one of these puzzles, and it was a book cipher puzzle, and it was in like the Art of War or something, and I was starting to decode it. Victoria's graduation from college was literally that fucking day, and so I'm being dragged out the door, and I'm like starting to solve it, and I pretty much was all putting it together, typing it up, and I just ran out of time, so I didn't finish it. And at the time I was like, oh, someone else will get it, it'll be fine, or I'll finish it later. So someone else did get it, but they ended up, this is in a national park, and they ended up getting kicked out of the national park. Because this was actually done by Vicarious Visions. They did not get permission to put these coins there, or the Valkyrie Spirit, so the national park like kicked them out. And so what they did is they found people who helped solve, and they sent them these coins. Now, because I knew we already, we didn't know what the reward was. And so I wasn't so pressed to help finish it. But if I would have just told, it was Victoria's fucking aunt, dude. I just would have told her to wait 5 goddamn minutes. Literally 5 minutes to let me to finish typing this. I would have one of these coins. So that's my sob story. It's whatever. At the end of the day, Raid Secrets did some fucking phenomenal work there. And still one of the coolest puzzles that's ever been in Destiny. Vicarious Visions really fucking knew what the players wanted. And so my point being, ARGs are fucking awesome. I always love to help out. And now, ever since that day, I'm always in the fucking ARG. Like, I always, no matter what, I am part of that team helping out, solving, because I love it. And I don't want to miss another opportunity like that. So if you ever, if you're ever like, wow, why does Scarrow care about these things so much? It's because I fucking love them. Like, I'm such a puzzle freak, dude. I just, it's the same thing with like blind rating. Like it stimulates me so much. It's just an amazing feeling. ARGs do the same thing. But that's kind of like a driving force behind why I'm always like, go when it comes to this sort of thing. So, yeah, I wouldn't. So truth be told, David, if I saw one like on eBay or anything, I would not buy it. Like, it's, I think those coins they ended up going to the people that earn them. And I think that's just kind of how it goes, If you get your pre-orders early, can you play the game or do you have to wait till 28th? So, Steven, Destiny is an online-only game. So that means the instances that the servers are on have to all be the same. So like Lightfall does not come out until Bungie says Lightfall comes out because it's online only. If you get when you buy these physical things, they don't come with a disc. They come with a piece of paper with a code on them. So I wouldn't worry about that. But yeah, so we're gonna break down. I was in the call last night and we went through and we solved 4 puzzles, and it looks like probably the only 4 puzzles. Hopefully I'm wrong there with the collector's editions, so we'll talk about those. And then more importantly, we'll read the lore. But let's break down the Season 20 weapon preview for the tuning real quick. There's a lot to read, so I'm gonna kind of speedy boy through this, okay? Owl Sector was very cool, yeah. I know Tunic came out last year, but what's one of the best puzzles in gaming? I have no idea what that is. Anything important happen in-game this week? No. The next important thing in-game will be in 2 weeks on Valentine's Day. We get the kind of conclusion quest according to Bungie. So yeah. I mean, I've been playing a lot of Dead Space. I haven't even been playing a lot of Destiny. I need to go. I think I need to do some... I did all my Ascendant challenges this week. I actually might be... I'll probably do a stream this weekend, finishing up a lot of seasonal challenges. Because I'm way behind on those, so I should do that. But my prep's even going really well. Were the previous collector's edition ARGs available immediately? There's always a big puzzle that you have to solve that gives you a URL or a Bungie site. So, like, for instance, I think the Witch Queen one was bungie.net/Gnosis, GNOSIS. And when you went there, you would get a unique picture, GIF, really. And when you got like 10,000 GIFs and you put them all together, it spelled out the extra lore. It was really cool. Beyond Light was Contact, bungie.net/Contact, I think. I don't remember what Shadowkeeps was. So there's always like something in the book, but as I'll show you as we go through the book, they're pretty empty this time. They're actually like really empty this time around, other than the puzzles that we already solved. It's one puzzle per book. But usually, like, if I pull up like I'll show you guys later, but usually when you have like these lore books, there's scribbles all the fuck over them, dude, all over the place. And that's not at all how it is this time. So they're a little bit more, they're cleaner than they usually are. So, but ARGs are always time gated. So like when you get the URL and you go there, it's always like the URL will go live at this place in time. It's usually about a week before the expansion launches. So there's always a lag period to let people get their collector's editions and help out. What's your favorite Destiny ARG? The Warmind one is phenomenal. I think that was probably the coolest thing that they've ever fucking done, to be honest. That shit was awesome. So it looks like a schizophrenic notebook half the time. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Okay. So, when playing on console, your reticle will turn red when it's over an enemy that's inside your weapon's effective range. This is a useful visual aid that we've wanted to be global for a while. So we've also enabled this on PC. I'm going to be completely honest. I had literally no idea that was a thing. Not even a little bit. I had no idea. Linear fusion rifles. You probably saw this coming. Linear fusion rifles outperform other heavy weapons for boss damage. Yep. So champions, mini bosses, bosses, and vehicles have had a 15% nerf on linear fusion rifles, but Sleeper, Simulate, and Queenbreaker are unaffected. I don't know why they're trying to hype up Sleeper. I mean, rockets are just going to be the go-to now, almost certainly. Like, rockets are, even right now, Hothead, like, you can hot swap Hothead and Izzy really well, and it's fucking crazy. So, you know, it's going to be one person with a Divinity, one person with a Gallowhorn, 4 Izzy Hotheads. That's going to be, like, the go-to strat. I have no doubt in my mind that is the go-to strat. Just the idea of reading Clovis's Brave personal notebook was so fucking cool. Yeah, it was. That is, I love how they do the collector's editions, man. Yo, what's up, Bush? How you doing, man? Rockets or grenade launchers? Oh yeah, rockets. Grenade launchers are cool. I'm a big fan of Izzy Digo from back in the day around Shadowkeep. When does Indigo come, or Indigo? When does Wendigo come back? Because I might have to farm for one just in case. I love the Wendigo. Maybe if it rolls with like full court auto loading or something. I don't know. Machine guns have been buffed a few times over the past year, but only in PvE. We've opted to increase their base damage a little. Last week of the season, oh fuck yeah, hopefully it's double. Which makes them more forgiving to use in PvP. The buff also applies across the board in PvE. PvP damage is typically the base, and PvE is a multiplier on top of that. So machine guns have had an increase of damage by 10% against a Guardian. All across the board. So they're just changed a little bit. That's fine. So that means auto rifles will do a little bit more damage in PvE as well, probably. Increased reserve ammo by 50% at a 0 inventory stat. That's fine. Whatever. Heavy grenade launchers now do increased damage to champions, mini bosses, and vehicles by 20%. Okay. Yeah, grenade launchers might actually be kind of fucking goated, man. It gets auto-loading holster with explosive light or cascade point. Oh, yeah. Either of those, dude. Improved projectile collision. That's good. Increased blast radius, and parasite is unaffected. Yeah, because it's fucking crazy. Shotgun reticles now change inside proportional to spread angle. Man, they really want shotguns to be like, hey, this is what's going on right now, and I respect that. Related note, the Legend of Accuracy Hipfire reticle is now a bit more representative of its very large angle spread. Hell yeah. Kinetic primary weapons no longer do 5% extra damage. They do 10% extra damage. Kinetic special weapons. Oh! Wait. Yeah, kinetic special weapons. Oh shit, dude. Wait. I mean, there's a lot of, like, Philo, right? No. Oh, no. Heritage, Pradiths, now they get a 10% buff for a crit multiplier. Oh my god, actually. Wait, is this damage multiplier? Oh, this is any damage, dude. What the fuck? Witherhorde? Arbalest? Heritage? Pradiths? Izzy's? What? We don't need this. What? Hey, what? I'm telling you right now, Izzy Digo or Izzy Hothead. It's over. It's fucking over. Oh, Deliverance? Yeah, people have been going crazy about that shit. No, not Deliverance. Deliverance is not Deliverance is stasis. It's kinetic damage. So anything. So see, this is stasis, but like anything that does kinetic damage, anything that doesn't have one of those, not Deliverance. Not Deliverance. Kinetic slot stasis weapons no longer have the 5% damage. Oh yeah, in fact, Deliverance got a 5% nerf. So, and there's also a kinetic damage type perk coming Lightfall. I think they hinted at that on the DCP a couple of weeks ago. Was Chris Proctor on DCP last night, by the way? I saw some people talking about it, but I didn't see like Fallout advertising it. And usually he does. I don't think so. It's not on the top of Oh, is Merc? Did he say anything fun? Oh, happy birthday, Raven. Anything interesting? Usually they put a thread of stuff on Reddit, but I didn't see one. Exotics, Queenbreaker's blinding effect was underwhelming for a heavy weapon. I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't even know Queenbreaker blinded things. When did it didn't launch with that functionality, did it? So I don't remember that at all. DCP is tonight? Oh, is it? Wait, isn't DC? No, firing lines on. Yeah, DCP's tonight, but firing lines on Wednesday though. Or firing range, right? I don't know. Too many days. So now it uses ARC 3.0 blind. I didn't even remember that it did that. Rune is effigy. Feels very voidy. Slamming the transmutation sphere now suppresses. That's cool. Always Thursday. Oh, okay. Wait. People are saying always Thursday. I'm getting fire ranges on Wednesday. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what? Yeah, I need to break down. Did Merc say anything cool last night? It's what I need. Leviathan's Breath buff from a few seasons inadvertently reduced PvP damage, so now applies volatile on a perfect draw, increased damage to 442, so you can one-hit kill all supers in PvP, and increased all damage versus champions by 30%. ATP needs new pants. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the, bruh? People were already simping on this shit. What is this? Hey, whatever. I'll take it. New powerful perk for rockets. Oh, sheesh. Okay. 1,000 voices now applies 10 plus 5 scorch stacks. So if you hit all of them, it'll blow up. Sunshot was a top candidate for applying solar subclass verbs. So now the explosions now do 10 plus 5 scorch stacks. Polaris Lance, the perfect fifth shot, now applies 40 plus 20 scorch stacks instead of a custom burn. Okay. Two-tailed Fox, the solar rocket now applies 60 plus 30 scorch stacks. What are these pluses? Oh, plus with Ember of Ashes. So it's 10 or 15 with Ember of Ashes, 40 or 60 with Ember of Ashes for Polaris Lance, 60 or 90 with Polaris Lance for Two-tailed Fox. And then, so Two-tailed Fox gets burn, gets scorch, gets suppress, and it will probably get jolt as well, because it says, and the catalyst completes the trifecta. If Two-tailed Fox gets a third rocket, it is going to be fucking unbelievable how good it is. So, here's the hope for the Strain gameplay trailer released tomorrow. No, I highly doubt that. Trailers come out on Tuesdays, blog posts come out on Wednesdays, TWABs come out on Thursdays. Almost always. Almost across the board. I highly doubt we're going to get anything tomorrow. Yeah, Three-tailed Fox. Can you imagine if it changed the name? That'd be awesome. Prometheus Lens now gets incandescent. That's really interesting. And Grand Overtures, latest buff brought it up plenty, but need to blind update the time to ARC 3.0. Okay. Hipfire Reticle added a reticle element to the Manticore, showing current stacks of anti-grav repulsor. Okay. Osmosis works with Strand. Elemental Capacitor, when you're using a Strand subclass, gives you plus 20 airborne effectiveness. That's interesting. That could work really well with some hand cannons. I know a lot of people try to get Elemental Capacitor on some things for Arc, but Strand could be really interesting as well. But third rocket means it takes 3 seconds to completely fire them out. Oh, that is actually a really interesting point, Sai. When you shoot Two-tailed Fox, do both rockets count as one shot? Because then that might end up being incredibly ammo efficient if you get 3 rockets for 1. I really hope the Witness will be the raid boss. I kind of expect that for Final Shape, but not Lightfall. But we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong. Yes? Okay, yeah. So it's going to be crazy. Yes, Eager Edge fixes. And it's kind of buffs. Like, I'm kind of confused here. No longer deactivates when moving faster. So your Eager Edge no longer... So right now, if I go Well Skate and then I pull out my sword and try to Eager Edge, it will slow me down. So now this will allow me to keep going faster and faster and faster. Yes. Good. It'll be much faster than before. Deactivates correctly after a single melee swing. So this means like it's not really helpful in PvE, but in Crucible, if you kill someone, if you like eager edge, bam, and you immediately swing again, you can eager edge someone else. And I guess there are points in PvE where you can double eager, but only if you do it to an enemy. So it's kind of harder. You have to lock on and hit an enemy for it to do it again. No, we're gonna do the lore reading in a second. Your base lunge distance is less. Airborne lunge, but you go further in the air. And then the enhanced perk now increases lunge distance back up. So if you have the enhanced, you're fine. If you have the enhanced version of the perk, these are literally all buffs. All buffs. You go further in the air and there's no cap on your speed. So yes, please, Chris Proctor, are you my dad? Will you adopt me? What's going on here? This is sick. These are good changes. I was really worried. So I am worried because they're messing with this, right? They're making a lot of changes. I'm very worried we're going to load up. We're going to load up Lightfall and I'm going to go to Wellskate and it's not going to work. And that will make me very sad. I hope they don't fix that. I know it can be game breaking, but it's so much fun, man. So, yeah. Does the rework of rewind rounds imply that VOG will be the next raid to get a loot refresh? No, it does not. And I'll talk about that here in a second. Did I already read that? Oh, yeah. Rewind rounds will be appearing on more weapons in Lightfall. So that's what it just says. Rebuild to work on non-vaulted glass weapons. So the change doesn't mean that at all. It doesn't affect vaulted glass weapons at all. This change is very similar to how this season we started seeing Deepstone Crypt, or last season, this season, some season, we started seeing Deepstone Crypt perks on certain weapons. So I think there are certain weapons that can get like recombination and those perks. That's, I'm sure, just how VOG's going to work now. So like there will be certain weapons that will be able to get rewind rounds and probably Firefly. Are VOG weapons the only weapons with Firefly? Is that right? Skating combined with strength could be way too much for the game. It could be way not enough for the game. Oh man, I hope it's good. So I mean, honestly, the reality is most of the strand subclasses will probably not be able to skate in terms of, well or shatter skate. Now the hunter does have a diving attack. We've seen it a couple of times. And so maybe if you can strand skate with eager edge and you get the grappling hook, I will never take strand hunter off. I will be that main for the rest of my life. I can promise you that right now. We wind wounds. Yeah, it's fucking hard to say, bud. Blinding grenade launchers, grenades on grenade launchers don't do arc damage. It's not appropriate for them to trigger arc 3.0. So blinding grenades are now disorienting grenades. In Vice Stinger, instead of proccing and reloading on an entire magazine, will now only reload 25% of the 25% of the magazine. So still probably the best origin trait, but calm down quite a bit. Hung Jury gets Firefly. Okay. They did that shit on purpose. Absolutely, man. We are already hard at work on seasons 21 and 22, and some of the changes we're making includes adding a full auto melee accessibility setting. That's going to be good for glaives and swords. A passover weapon type and exotic hipfire reticles, including increasing how visible they change even at high FOVs, and adding features like charge meters and exotic perk counters. We're also got balance changes in the works, but it's a little too early to get into them. So, dude, the balancing team, look, man, I've got to say, I was a little worried. Like there's some times, and there's still a couple of things, especially in Crucible, that I'm like, this is going. The fact that DMT came it was so dominant and then it got nerfed and now it's so dominant again. What's going on there? Why are we doing this? But I've got to say, for the most part, it really seems like Chris Proctor and his team know exactly what we want, and there's also growing pains. Like the aerial effectiveness, I'll be the first to say that shit sucked, right? But I think the outcome is that we're going to get a much more dynamic, easier to balance system coming out of Lightfall, or like going into Lightfall with Strand. And, you know, there were growing pains associated with that. But I think once Strand comes out, we're all going to be very happy that they took the time to test it, even though we were miserable for like 6 months, right? So there have definitely been some growing pains, and there's some things that are maybe a little slow for my taste. But all in all, like, it's these sort of changes, not this. The kinetic damage stuff is really cool. And then all of the stuff with like the shotgun radical changes, and then eager edge, like this sort of stuff. Like I really feel like the balancing team, in general, like they've got a good fucking grasp on what we like, which is cool. I have a Pierce philosophy when it comes to speedruns. I think they should not be able to done with glitches or methods to skip mechanics. I mean, shatter skating doesn't really allow you to skip mechanics. You're just going fast, right? I would argue most speedruns are done by breaking the game. Like if you go like, probably one of the most infamous games to speedrun on the planet would be Super Mario N64. That shit is like just broken. I think, yeah, I mean, there's always different, there's different categories of speedruns, right? Like I think the most popular is going to be any percent. Doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're not hacking, like you're playing with in-game mechanics and you finish it, that's the rule. And I think that's the most popular. And that's what I like. I really like, you know, I like cheese and strikes, and I like just going fast and just getting shut down as quickly as possible, honestly. So wait till you get to the part TWAB where they pretty much said you'll need to reinstall the entire game for Lightfall, because it seems like they made some serious backend improvements. Oh, fuck, dude. Hopefully there's preloading. This week at Bungie, we showed some of the gear that's coming with Lightfall. I have not seen this yet, so I don't know anything that's here. We've also previewed some of the changes coming with the weapon sandbox in first, but here's a brief reminder of what we talked about in last week's TWAB. We announced the voting of the Festival of the Lost Armor set. I've still not gotten I get every single email from Bungie. I still don't have an email for this. So, deep sight weapons obtained in the helm now have a daily rotation. Iron Banner rep gains increase. Some Bungie Store rewards will expire when the season ends. Oh, and if you didn't read about the upcoming economy updates, just go do it. Yes. This TWAB. Have you watched the Lightfall's exotic gear trailer? Yes, we'll watch it again. A reminder to go read the Weapons Sandbox blog. Just did. It's Black History Month. Hell yes. Blues are gone for real this time. I'll believe it when I see it. Vote for the next Trials map. Okay. And Lightfall pre-launch downtime and pre-download details. Okay, sick. Okay, so let's watch the gear trailer real quick. One more time. I know we've already watched it like 4 times. Nah, Cameron, I'm pretty sure that Quicksilver is gonna be like Strand, like a Strand Purist thing. It is such a good soundtrack. I really wonder, like, I bet the whole soundtrack's gonna sound like this, very synth-wavy. So I'm ready for it. And like my favorite type of metal is like industrial metal. So if we can do like not really industrial metal, I guess, but like modern metalcore has a lot of like synthy elements and stuff, and so could lend itself to a really good cover. No Jinx, I have max triumph score. All around, this stuff, the synergy with Strand looks phenomenal. All the visuals look so good. Oh, they confirmed that this glaive is a heavy. So if it has infinite glaive heavy, that would be cool. Like infinite stabby stab. I doubt it though. So, you know. I can't believe they chose to show a clip where flinch-resistant armor displayed horrendous flinch. So yeah. So Here's the summary. So you have the final warning. Hold down the trigger of this kinetic slot strand sidearm to mark targets within range and load a burst of bullets. When hip-firing projectiles track aggressively towards marked targets. They really, like... I just don't think... Like, there's a lot of... Like, how many sidearms are there in the game that just do, like, this? You know? Like, Trespasser, Traveler's Chosen, sort of Devil's Ruin? People kind of use that one, though. I'm missing one. I know I am. Cryosthesia. That all have, like, the hold down the trigger and do something thing. Or get a kill and hold down the trigger or whatever. And it's just, like, no one uses any of them. Except for maybe Devil's Ruin gets, like, one weird person in every 7th Crucible lobby. Look. Sidearms are a hard thing to make good. It's another fun that requires no aim. Yeah, I mean, they've also been doing that a lot lately as well. So yeah, kind of Forerunner's good. They kind of did this with Forerunner's Catalyst, but no one uses it. Like, it just makes the gun worse. So yeah, they've been really on the sidearm train lately, and so whatever. We'll see how good it is. Deterministic Chaos. While holding the trigger, every 4th bullet of this void machine gun becomes a heavy projectile that weakens enemies on impact. Every 4th heavy projectile makes targets volatile. So a lot of people have been like, oh, the void one, collective obligation is just better. I think the point of deterministic chaos is so collective obligation is to be used exclusively with void builds. I think the point of something like deterministic chaos is very, to me, it's very specifically to be used with builds other than void. So this is like, hey, are you running a strand subclass? Are you running a solar subclass? Here, now you have a way to apply some of the best parts of void, but you don't have to have any synergy with it, right? And so, because both volatile and weaken are both incredible. But they're both pretty easy to apply if you're just using the subclass in any regard, right? So this to me speaks as like, hey, you're using strand, but you still want to be able to weaken things or whatever. Here you go. So I think it's like anti-build crafting is the way I'm looking at it. I think it's kind of like a void version of Thunderlord, right? Like, if you already have Jolt and stuff, like, why are you using Thunderlord? You don't really have to. But I feel like Thunderlord kind of fills that arc fantasy when you aren't using arc, right? So True Vanguard would disagree on the sidearm take. Yes, it is very important to note that all of my sidearm criticisms come from playing on PC, so I do not see anywhere as near as many sidearms, and playing mouse and keyboard, so I cannot use sidearms, okay? Sidearms are like awful on mouse and keyboard, and you never see them on PC, like barely ever. Like I said, like once every 8th, 9th, 29th Crucible lobby, you'll see a Devil's Ruin, and of course Forerunner, that barely counts. But other than that, like, you never see sidearms. So, or at least I never see sidearms. True Vanguard, way different story. Okay, that guy, like, it's just like when people are like, "Oh, what do you mean you don't like this gun?" Kami Cakes uses it all the time. It's like, well, yeah, he wouldn't really be. He wouldn't have the position he's in if he was bad at the game, you know? Like, yeah. So, is the weaken going to be 15 or 30%? All weekends are 15%. If it says weaken, it's 15. 30 is, has their own stuff. Actually, aren't weekends? No, they're 15. 10%? No, I think they're 15% now. Yeah. Yo, Baba, what's up? How you doing? Hello, people. Been a while, Scaro. Been working, trying to get into school. Hey, well, hopefully everything's going well, man. How are you doing? There's a preload. All right, we'll get there. Winterbite. This heavy slot, exotic stasis glaive fires a large ball of energy that locks onto nearby targets and freezes them. So like, if you cannot stab at any time with this, like if it has unlimited stab ammo, this shit is going to be used a lot. If you need heavy in order to do the stabby stab, not a single goddamn person on this planet is going to use this glaive. Like, I'm just telling you right now. There's no reason. We don't need, this is another thing, like, we don't need more ad clear heavies. Most ad clear nowadays can be done with literally a single forbearance. That's all you need. Primary weapons do insane between funnel web and halberks and just jolt on Calus or whatever, like, or like just any double special run. Like you don't need ad clear anymore, especially with all the 3.0s. So all of these exotics seem to be focused more on ad clear, especially if they're in the heavy slot. You just don't really need them anymore, man. Tyler says weekend bet's 30%. Does it say weekend? Tyler is definitely 30%, but maybe it does say weekend, but I don't think it does, but maybe it does. I thought they gave it like a unique name, but maybe they didn't, is my thing. Well, they're changing the whole build crafting for Lightfall for that. That might not be the case. No. I mean, they're changing mods, but they're not changing how your subclasses work, and they're not changing how your weapons work. They're changing Charge with Light and Well of Light and Orb of Power builds. And the entire mini rant I just went on, I didn't even have to mention those because with Jolt, with Forbearance, with Chain Reaction, with any of these things, you don't need those to be good, right? So yes, Chinatsu, weeklies and dailies, preferably no repeatables. Brendan, how you doing, brother? The facade, after grappling, this is really interesting. This exotic helmet gives extra protection as hunters gain body armor, but only the body. The head is still vulnerable and flinch resistance. That's kind of interesting. Awake, what's up, man? Hey, Scarrow, I just want to say I love your streams, man. Please keep up the amazing work. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, yeah, we'll see. Abeyant Leap. Wait, sorry, it's not a rant, my dude. I'm excited for new reasons to get pissed. No, my thing went. I wasn't saying you were a rant. My thing's is like a mini rant. Shadow, thank you for having the same name as my cat, and thank you for the super chat. Excited for Lightfall and to watch you play. Hey, thank you so much, man. Love your face. Can we get some hearts in chat, please? Thank you. And if you guys want to support the channel, a great way to do so is to essentially, it's the same as subscribing on Twitch. It's called becoming a member on YouTube. You can click the link at the top of the chat or click !mother chicken in chat. You become a channel member, supports the channel a lot. You get access to exclusive emotes. You get a unique raid boss next to your name in chat, and you get a green name, which is really awesome. So thank you guys so much. Hell yeah, Raichu. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And thank you once again, Shadow. Love your face. Thank you. All right. So that's kind of cool. Abeyant Leap. When Titans use their barricade, it gives extra armor to its wielder and spawns 2 additional seeking projectiles that track targets aggressively and suspend them. So here's the question. Here is the question. Are you able to be suspended in PvP? Because if you can, I will be very mad. That's it. That's it. If I go into PvP and I get like flung into the air and then I'm held there and I can't do anything, there's definitely going to be some yelling compilations, okay? So, Swarmers, this new exotic leg armor allows warlocks to create threadlings to infest and attack enemies after destroying a tangle. More exotic weapons. Oh! And armor pieces are coming with Lightfall. Weapons, of course, the raid exotic, and there's probably another exotic quest one. But that's really interesting. There are confirmed more armor pieces. Cool. All of these look so goddamn good, man. They did such a good job. Weapons are changing. We already talked about all of this. The blue changes. Now, once you hit the soft power cap, powerful enemies that used to have a small chance of dropping a blue engram will now drop a purple engram instead. While more valuable, this replacement doesn't relieve as much of inventory postmaster pressure as we like, and we'll need an additional update to help us get our ultimate goal. Yo. How about just expand the postmaster? Early in Lightfall, we're planning on having powerful enemies instead drop glimmer and occasionally purple engram whenever they would have dropped a blue engram and keep your postmaster inventory clean. Additionally, we recently boosted the gunsmith 25%. Yeah, we already know that. Okay. Okay. Just before Lightfall drops, Destiny 2 will be brought offline 24 hours starting at 12 Eastern on February 27th. If needed, you can check your local time here. Players will be reminded of the downtime in-game and on our social media channels before it starts. During this period, players can pre-download Lightfall. Be advised that the download file will be large, but this new installation will improve load times and overall disk space usage will be smaller afterwards. Let's go! Once the game was brought back online and Lightfall is launched, sign-in queues are expected. Let's do it, man. I'm very excited for that. Preload's great because so we are going to be two-manning the expansion. We are assuming that because we're going to do the legendary campaign, we're assuming that the legendary scaling will be the exact same as something like Seraph Shield. 2 players is kind of the sweet spot where you can still run through, but it's not too hard. 3 players, everything just has way too much health. It really slows you down. So to speed up things as much as possible, me and Coops are going to be duoing the campaign. He lives in Australia, and so this preload will help us a lot. So that's sick. Val's Forge wants us to remind you that this is the last week of Iron Banner before the new expansion. Therefore, it's your last chance to gild the Iron Lord title if you haven't already. I'm just so glad. Look, man, Fortress was a cool idea for a game mode. Not at this meta. Not in this meta. Not at this point in time. We need, in my opinion, things that encourage more gunplay. Less ability spam. That's why I really liked Eruption. And I would say even Rift is a lot more about gunplay than ability spam. We need more active. We need more things where you are moving. And the goal is to get players moving rather than camping. Because when players are camping, they have time to recharge and use and spam all of their abilities. We need constant fast movement or faster. Look, this doesn't need to be like goddamn crazy or anything, but less campy, please. 2 players was the sweep for Witch Queen as well. Yeah, that's kind of what we're going for. In the Witch Queen weapons and gear trailer, Grand Overture was specified to be from the season pass, but it didn't happen this time around, which means none of these are seasonal. Yeah, we'll probably get a separate trailer for this season. They did the same thing with Witch Queen. We got a Season of the Risen trailer, and I imagine we will be getting the same exact thing for Season of whatever the fuck. So, yes. Okay. If you are more into the exclusive gear aspect of the event, you might want to grab some extra rolls of the weapons that are leaving the loot pool to make room for the next one. The Iron Companion armor sets aren't going anywhere, but both the Frontier's Cry hand cannon and the Razor's Edge sword will go away to make room for the Bite of Fox sniper and Yoram's Claw pulse rifle. Both new versions will have the Iron Banner origin traits. Last but not least, we announced that Iron Banner will be a 3-week event again, starting in season 20. Fuck yes. And hopefully a new game mode. I want a really fucking fun game mode, man. I don't know what it is, but I want it. So hell yes. You'll be able to vote for Fortress, Twilight Gap, or Radiant Cliffs. There's no shot Twilight Gap. Well, I think Radiant Cliffs is my favorite of those 3, but I bet Twilight Gap wins. So, yeah. And someone said to click the T at the end here. Kitten. There we go. Okay. I do believe it's lore time. Are we ready for this? Let me take some drinks of Advanced code SCARE9 10% off. Very good. Kohler, what's up, man? Do you know if the craftable weapon patterns will be taken away? Almost certainly not. If you can craft them, you should, I imagine, still be able to craft them. When is your CE arriving? I got the notification today, so probably like next week. There's rum in that shaker. I don't really drink, so no. Okay, so this is the collector's edition. Once again, I always do an unboxing of the collector's edition. I will be doing it this time as well. I haven't read really any of these things, but in the collector's edition comes 3 separate notebooks. You have one on the pukas, which are the fish. You have one on Caiatl, and you have one on Osiris. And thanks to my new friend Go Boy, who got his very early, we have scans of all 3. Very excited for that. So, chat, we got some reading to do. So this is the Osiris one. This is the first one. So are you ready? We're about to do a Scare 9 narration stream. And yeah, we'll take breaks and we'll talk about it. We do this every time. Excited. Hello, wife. What you up to? Huh? Oh, bed? Okay. Everyone tell Victoria good night. Would you like to say good night to chat? She says good night. I'm not sure if my mic picked that up. Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
I don't know.
Good day. Night. Where's Kitty? Oh, what a lord. Probably sleeping on the couch. Kitty. And you, actually, all the time. I'm like the only person in this house that doesn't sleep. What is this? Chad says goodnight. Lots of people say goodnight. Is the game still bundled with the collector's edition? Yes? What do you mean by that? The art in the box looks great? Yes. Okay. You probably had this question a lot in the past, but I apologize in advance, but you know if Advanced ships to the UK. So I found out there is an advanced, so people are always saying like the advanced shipping is so much. AdvancedGG Europe. There is a special, there's a specific site for Advanced Europe, but I don't know where it is. I know there is. I saw it. Someone told me. Oh, did I just do it? Yes, I told you about the UK link. How do you get there? How did you find it? I did just notice. I went up here and I clicked this. It was USD and I switched it to Great Britain pounds and it changed all the prices. So maybe that's how you do it. But there is a UK link that exists. I just don't know how to get there. I apologize. Okay. Do you still get the game like UK Deluxe Edition when you purchase the Collector's Edition? There on the Bungie store, there's the option to purchase for any of the 3 platforms, or just get the Collector's Edition. Yeah, so there is collections in UK. Oh, really? Collections UK? I don't see this anywhere, my friend. There's a way to do it. I just don't know how to do it. Quick ship. Well, these all have American flags, so probably not that. I don't know. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I need to know. Hey, Scare, I just ordered my starter kit and Scare 9 Ice Shaker. Wait, like one of these? Are these available? I didn't know these were available. You found, or are you just talking, what, just the one that comes with the starter kit? I can't believe that I didn't know there were any of these left. I was told there wasn't. Okay, well, hell yes. Thank you. Enjoy it, dude. Just drink high on caffeine. Yeah, it does have some. I don't have a jar on me or else I'd read it, but if you go to like Advanced and you look at any flavor you want, it's all open label, so you can see how much of caffeine's in there. Hell yeah. Well, thank you, Odyssey. Enjoy it. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Let's start it. Sorry, it's been like an hour. It's not that I disagree with the judgment call, Officius said, and revolve generally on the spot, but you can't go easy on it. It's an evaluation, not an interrogation. Ikora did not give in to the impulse to fold their arms this time. You know what I mean. Oh shit, can I do this? No, I can't. Sorry. Like this. Ikora sighed very softly. He was right, all things considered. I didn't intend to, and I'm well aware that there's an equal helping of suspicion on me for not seeing through Savathun's deception. We didn't see through it, Officius. Officius is Ikora's ghost, by the way. Officius's correction was as firm as his earlier challenge. It was a complex series of failures, and that can't be laid on any one person. Ikora shook her head. She never should have impersonated him so successfully if Sagira was alive. Loss echoed loudly. In that respect, I suppose Shivu Wrath did her sister a favor, Ikora finished. Yes, it's sad. Something unsaid lingered there, but, Ikora prompted, but, Officius continued, you can't tell me you didn't think it too, just for a moment, about bringing her shell back to the relic on Mars. Oh, there was a moment, just a breath, where I hoped, Ikora agreed, I shouldn't have. Hope doesn't often obey wisdom, Officius fixed her with his single gimlet eye? What the hell is gimlet? Yo, Lord, thank you for the A months. Huh, this exists, I had no idea the milestone thingy. Alas, you may check out the hub of my websites after this read. Yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. I would check the site, Unbroken. Maybe there's still one on there. I have no idea. Though he wasn't wrong, Ikora wasn't wholly interested in being generous to her failings. All of the hope in the world doesn't change the facts. A relic of the darkness is unlikely to be capable of restoring a ghost crafted largely of light. No matter how nice it would be if Sagira would simply pick right back up with Osiris, wash away these last months just like that. That's a really good point, I guess. Our problems never solved so easily, Officius said, not unkindly. He drifted close enough to bump against Ikora's shoulder, just above the shimmer of her bond. Ikora steadied herself. Untrue, Evil Levante provides us with perfectly fixable problems. A little word of amusement. Shall we see if the witness is afraid of the dawning? The thought compelled an exchange of almost stifled laughter. Doubtful, Ikora mused, but the mental image was a good buoy. In any case, I'll speak with Osiris alone, although the records will be available to you. I'm sure you may spot something I missed. Officius hummed a little more. You know he may never be ready for the field again. He certainly wouldn't like to be told that, Ikora held her hand up before the ghost could answer. But one step at a time, field readiness assessment before we make any determination, the same way we would for any hidden agent who's come out of a dark place. Her mouth twisted wry. Wouldn't it be nice if checking in on Osiris could be as simple as asking, are you all right? Ha, Officius said, pessimism in a single syllable never happened. Okay. I'm going to open all of these and I'm going to read them. I just opened this one, this one, this one. I think they're all about 15 pages long. So we got a lot of reading to do. Holy shit. I'm going to have a very, very sore, and that's the puzzle. Okay. Sore throat. Just from reading so much. Subject, first debriefing with Osiris. Yo, Terminator, what's up, man? Gimlet, a T-shaped tool with a screw tip for boring holes. Similar. Drilling. Wait, how does that have to do with his eye? Officius is Ikora's ghost. Yes. Yo, Nathan, thank you so much for becoming a mother chicken. Terminator, you only missed one page so far. We were reading the TWAB and stuff. Essentially, this is right after Osiris came back, after he woke up, and Ikora is just talking with her ghost about interrogating him. Or not interrogating, but, you know, questioning him, make sure he's all right and stuff. Okay. Subject, first debriefing with Osiris. Contextual note, Osiris looks smaller than my memory of him. It's as if the version of him that Savathun played was based on our expectations, the larger-than-life man in the long shadow he's always cast. Or perhaps she played an Osiris newly separated from Sagira, one who did not feel the weight of the loss, had not been given a chance to. Now, Osiris seems plainly human, in a way he never has, even at his most despairing, and I barely think I recognize him. But today, a familiar glimmer of his former self aroused over the strong scent of tea I made, and gave me a sort of patient, impatient look over the rim of the cup, as if to say he knows that what I'm about and is going to do me a courtesy of not mentioning it. That's just as well. Osiris never has been one to sit down and openly talk of his feelings, and I doubt very much of his time in Savathun's possession will have changed that. Still, as I said to Officius, a shared pretext can go a very long way between those familiar with each other. Transcript of conversation. Isn't this wild? Like, Osiris has been not Osiris for a year. Like almost 2 years, right? I get no, like just over a year, like a year and a third. Imagine having to like interrogate your friend and make sure he's all right, you know? Holy. Transcript of conversation. If you're gonna try to spare my feelings too, Ikora, Ikora says, it crossed my mind to be polite to someone who's been held captive by our enemies for a year, yes. Osiris says, that was unworthy of me. You're going to have to work harder than that to offend me, Osiris. Osiris chuckles a little bit, and then he says, we'll see, sorry, I got cat hair on my screen. We'll see how that goes. I'm assuming you want to talk about the intelligence I had gained. Ikora, yes, you haven't said much about what it is, only that you remember a little. I want to start from the last place you saw before you were kidnapped and establish the full chain of events. There was some fuzziness about you when you were last you. Osiris says, it was on Luna, the same place I lost Sagira. But that was a place of Sivu Wrath's power. It was muddled. After I left that place, I do not think I made it so very far from the Hellmouth in truth. I was not thinking straight if I was thinking at all. Ikora, do you remember meeting perhaps not Savathun, but no agents of her? Nothing beyond the Hellmouth that might, in retrospect, be attributed to her? Osiris says, nothing, at least that I don't know, nothing that I can recall. If nothing else, knowing you don't know is something. Osiris says, laughably little. A frown at the empty cup, and then he looks at the teapot. Oh, he takes the teapot and refills both cups slowly. Osiris says, I wanted to blame you. Surely I thought you should have seen. Surely. Ikora, I certainly blame myself. If anyone would have identified that you were not yourself, my best student should have, says Osiris. Ikora says, yes. Osiris says, so we have paid for all of that hubris. And Ikora says, and Savathun's gains. Well, you are aware of the cost created by insufficient discernment of truth. Osiris says, yes, I am. Perhaps such blame is misplaced. After all, if she were discovered, what would Savathun have done in response? Ikora says she might simply have moved your plans to offer a bargain. Perhaps she would have known less of Vanguard operations. Perhaps you never would have been returned to us at all. Perhaps our guardians might have stormed her throne world regardless. After all, they are very motivated when new weapons and old friends are involved. The variables involved would give even a prediction engine difficulty. I love when they like call out players, when they're just like, players are just dumb. Like they'll do anything for some loot. I love that. My code does not work. Scare 9 should work if you're talking about for one of these shakers. I don't think you can do discounts on them. That's awesome. Okay. But yeah, anytime, like pretty much every one of these lore books, Bungie's like, yeah, the players are dumb. They just jump, they dance everywhere, they jump off the tower, and they just chase loot. I love that stuff. Osiris says, then perhaps you should not have made the bargain in the first place, Ikora. Don't mistake my words for ill-guided martyrdom. That I'm alive and here now is a gift I don't intend to waste. Ikora says, then don't. Osiris responds with, but I'm not wholly oblivious to the state of things in the city. People question me whatever cachet I maintained after my exile, whatever Savathun gained in my stead, it is all useless now. People should question their leaders, including the Vanguard. But where leadership is not only challenged but also entrusted, then there's much room for expanding chaos, corruption even. Ikora responds with, I know, believe me, I know. Osiris asks, do you trust me, Ikora? Ikora says, I'd like to say that I do. Perhaps it's better to say that I trust you, Osiris, but I still wonder if I trust my own perceptions. And Osiris says, good. Okay. So then the end of this, well, as Osiris Officius concluded, the pieces of a shell flex one final time before settling into place compact as ever. I don't know what else we expected. Ikora compressed a smile and wrapped her hand around the small recorder. You joke, but Officius played a thin touch of light across her curled fingers. You think he sounds too much like himself? Perhaps I'm being overly cautious. She opened her grasp, revealing an empty palm first, then producing the recorder again to pass over to Officius. A pointless trick, but worth a moment of smile. Perhaps I think too much of what will be perceived in a failure to be overly cautious. Officius whirred quietly, thoughtfully, an ounce of prevention and all of that. Ikora breathed out a quiet sigh. Holy shit, sorry. Ikora breathed out a quiet sigh as to expel her worries about it. Optics aside, I do worry about Osiris. Despite his many strengths, he is only human. Even a stone may be worn down in time, and people are not so resilient as stones. Officius, for once, did not argue with her logic. Yo, Terminator Pro Gaming and Shadow. Thank you, Terminator. Thank you for becoming a mother chicken. Shadow, thank you for becoming a mother chicken. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for your help, guys. And thanks for the support and enjoy all the perks that come with being a mother chicken. Thank you. Isn't the lore that Guardians are instinctively in love with loot? Yes. Raven says, I, however, would be a little offended because it's true, but falling off the tower was accidental, not intentional. Fair enough. I jump off all the time when someone on my fire team tells a bad joke. Yeah, I'll just like parkour off the tower all the time, man. Have you seen the new Atomic Heart trailer? Yes, the gameplay trailer looks awesome, man. I'm so excited for that game. It's gonna be so good. All right, second debriefing with Osiris. Here we go. Osiris and I spoke again perhaps a week after the first conversation in the same secure location, my office. It isn't the best solution, he is not at his full strength, but the security concerns triumphed and he agreed with that. The tea was different. I tried a blend of chamomile, reasoning that there wasn't a single person in the tower who couldn't use an extra bit of calm. Excuse me. He took a mouthful of chamomile tea and grimaced at me, though I could not say if it was in judgment of the flavor or the intended effects. Regardless, I was not offended. I had something extra for Segura this time, Segura's shell. It had been held in secure hidden storage due to the value of the attached memories, but in the course of Win 357's assessment of the altars of reflection, I was assured his thoroughness had extracted anything we could possibly gain from it. So while other artifacts have remained locked away in the secure vault, this one I brought to return to Osiris. I offered him a Segura's shell without any other indication of what I meant to accomplish. Osiris cradled her between his hands with utmost tenderness in his face. I wonder how I could have mistaken Savathun for him. I wonder how I could have suspected the man before me. It seems clear now, in retrospect, of course, that the one to hold up beside the other. Savathun had never spoken very much of Segura's loss, and I had taken it for grief compressed, coping tied firmly down, not to be addressed. I had thought it was not my business to tell him how to grieve, not when Shivu Wrath and then the Cabal Empire were knocking on our door with wrath and battering rams. Oh, but this is a grief too big for even a man of his caliber to chain down. Other notes of relevance. Transcript abbreviated slightly. We spoke delicately on tactical matters for a few minutes, but not approach the emotional issues after a certain point. Osiris's mind is as sharp as ever, and when we are not speaking close to the heart, he's analytical, if leaning to the pessimistic. Wasn't there a lore piece that claimed that guardians who jump off the tower killed a citizen? Not that I'm aware of. Yo, thank you, Helmy. Appreciate it. Not a professor, though. And I'll just be a doctor after May 10th. But, no professor. Not an academic. Destiny lore second to none. Agreed. John's Great says, I'm waiting for something big to drop in these Osiris interviews. He had visions that were Savathun's. Yes, so I'm sure that they'll start talking about Neomuna a little bit. The one I'm really excited for are the I think the Exo Stranger ones have a lot of lore. I haven't read these, but a lot of good lore. So I'm excited for that one too. You will be once you want it? No, I'm going into industry. Like I have no interest in going an academic route at all. Yeah. Okay. Transcript. So this is the second one. Osiris, I assume you must have come to some conclusion then. What makes you say that? Would you not have returned her to me if you doubted your course? Ikora says, no, I wouldn't have. Osiris says, I might have hoped your caution would outlast your emotion. Ikora says, the judgment call is still mine. In truth, it is highly improbable that Savathun would repeat the same trick twice. And besides that, she is dead. Osiris says, is she truly? I was told she had a ghost. Ikora says, Amaru, yes, he survives, but we have sequestered Savathun's body securely, and my hidden scraped the area for errant genetic material. Osiris says, that's no guarantee. Ikora says, this tactic worked in the Dark Age. It seems to hold. We have seen no evidence of a resurgence. Osiris, I wouldn't be so sure she's managed greater deceptions. Ikora, the ghosts don't think it possible with the precautions we've taken. A disintegration might be catastrophic to that cause, but keeping the body intact and inaccessible seems to work. Osiris, the Dark Age was a long time ago now. Who knows what innovations the Hive have brought to the ghosts? They're still ghosts, says Ikora. Osiris says, are they? Ikora says, while we may have distinguished between Lightbearers and Guardians, there's no equivalent for ghosts, and a difference in nomenclature will hardly make much change to their capabilities. Osiris says, we must be prepared for a ploy we cannot see, Ikora. Where does this confidence come from when the Queen of Lies is the opponent? Ikora, we have an informant when it comes to the Hive, a conscientious objector. For obvious reasons, I can't say more, but we're not so directly inhibited when it comes to matters of the Lucent Hive's capabilities. Osiris says, tell me when you're enabled. So that's pretty cool. So Finch has been kind of like tattletaling a little bit. A little snitchy boy. Yeah, there's an Elsie book. Yes, there's a, well, it's got like a puka on it, the fish, but I think it's like an Elsie book from her alternate future or something. Yeah. Officius was silent for some time after he had finished scanning the second report. Ikora didn't press, choosing instead to stare down Osiris's empty cup and the cushion where he sat. Strikes me as ironic, Officius said finally, that the problem caused by Sagira's absence is one she would have been perfectly suited to solve. Ikora's mouth curved, a complication of emotion in the bear shape of amusement. Paradoxical irony, yes. She fiddled with the audio recorder, marking it as sealed, no further changes. I still wonder at his reaction to Mario and our method of preventing Savathun's erection. Savathun's resurrection. Fuck! Officius drifted over the low table around the empty tea things. His shell plate moved in a ripple of discrete sections, suggesting a shrug. It sounded like fear to me. Quiet fear, perhaps, but fear all the same. Don't worry about it. I have rarely known Osiris to be truly afraid of anything, Ikora admitted. Once more, she felt as though she stood on unstable ground. And now, after over a year in Savathun's possession, Officius pressed. Ikora found she did not have the stomach to finish the thought, and so she let it pass by, into the twilight where things fade that were known but never spoken. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right, the third debriefing with Osiris. Okay. Whew. Contextual notes. A week since the last debriefing, Osiris seemed in better spirits today. Perhaps there had been some more time to pack traveling things away. Perhaps having Sagira's shell in hand, he was secure in knowing the worst blow had already fallen. There's one point in the conversation where he fell into self-reflection, murmuring. He did not look at me and his voice was not steady. Perhaps somewhere deep in memory, whether it was his own or Savathun's. For the most part, he was coherent himself, but here I wondered if it was again safe to let him back into the field, or if I could, in truth, forbid him. Osiris says, I see you've changed teas again, Ikora, and I saw the face you made at the chamomile. Osiris, you might have chosen a better blend last time. Ikora says, I can brew that instead if you'd rather. Osiris says, do you have more questions, didn't you? Ask already. Yes, Ikora says, I want to know what you remember from the last year. Anything could be important, as you implied. Osiris, I remember what I implied. I remember. She kept some sort of connection to me, to rely on my experiences and memories, you see. Most of the time I was delirious and lost in darkness. Very occasionally I caught glimpses. Yes, glimpses of her thoughts, her feelings, knowledge that surely would compromise a god of secrets, so it could not have been intended. Something must have gone awry in her plans and would account for the shattered nature of that which I recall. Ikora, there are any number of things that it could be attributed to. The influence of the darkness, the Nezarec relics, the intrusion of Shivu Arath's forces during the ritual may have disrupted Savathun's influence, or perhaps her death and resurrection may have had some effect on you. Osiris, Debating on the reasons does not interest me. The data does. We have thought Neptune to be a dead end. I hope that was never realized. But she knew something about it, or perhaps something on it, which brought her power. Some deception or hidden truth. Some bluff that she held uncalled against the witness and its disciple. Oh, okay. Osiris sips his tea. Though my senses were darkness, it was that much was clear through the murk of her throne world. There was a secret she kept veiled, even to the last. I do not fully understand what I saw, and for a human to understand a hive mind, how many legends of catabasis do we have, Ikora? Ikora says, we currently have dozens of stories about descending into the realms of the dead. The research has indicated many more must have existed, lost in the layers of human history we may never lay eyes on. Mathematically, there are likely hundreds. Inanna and Dumizid, and I don't know these people. And, oh my god. Gastina and Orpheus and Eurydice and Izanagi and Izanami, to name a few. Gods and goddesses, mortal and immortal lovers, always seeking to descend and return with the lost. What was the purpose of collecting those body parts and seizing the plunder? To bring Osiris back. Well, the first reason was to stop Aramis from collecting them, but two, to bring Osiris back. Osiris is right. The Lucent Hive have acted strange ever since Savathun died. She was definitely planned and already considered it with the altars of reflection as proof. Yeah, I think it's going to be weird, right? Like I think we all expect her to be an ally when she wakes up, but like, what if she's just not, you know? I don't know. Yeah, Catabasis was the guardian from the Glycon, yes. I think she's saying like there's a lot of legends of, guardians losing something and trying to get it back in some way, because guardians are essentially gods, right? Like they can barely die. Osiris says, neither the lost nor those who search for them have ever returned the same. Okora says, is that how you think of yourself? Osiris scoffs. Do I sound that dire? All guardians, all light bearers have done as much. But others, well, I wonder, do our former enemies have similar stories? Frequently, the underworld, or those realms beyond mortal existence, possess wisdom the living do not. What then is knowledge from a dead hive god vested in deception? Ikora says, so Neptune in secrets? Osiris says, Iana. And Ikora says, what is that? Osiris says, a thought, an echo of one, the return from the underworld, and Iana casts off her veil. It makes sense. I do not understand when I was first clutching the whispers, carrying wisdom away from Kerr when she strode into the sunlight again. Osiris murmuring self-directed, see initial notes. Osiris, Ikora, this witness, I do not say this lightly, but it made her wary. Not in the way she might have been of guardians who storm blazing into battle with power and conviction and no restraints. I still feel it, her concern, though I can give you no proof. The concern is exactly the type of thing she would lay contingency plans for. Ikora says, I understand. These names are interesting. Iana and Kerr? What is that? Oh, Inanna. Sorry. Inanna. Banana? Inanna. I never would have thought there was anything that could scare a hive queen. It's worrying. Of course it's worrying. He's much said that Savathun was scared of the witness. Ikora and Officius did not look at each other. The shared feeling resonated in the gap between them, tremulously tangible. Sorry. And if he had that close of a connection, Savathun could have left one of those contingency plans in him, Officius said finally. We both want to trust him, but there's no guarantee that Neptune is anything other than a trap. Ikora leaned her hands behind her back, squaring her shoulders. If we assume Osiris stole the knowledge on witness, then it is a treasure, a secret that may bring us some useful scraps. If we assume that she gave the knowledge to him as bait, then we still know that Savathun had some interest there, if not an outright presence. But why Neptune? Guardians have been there before and found nothing. Officius whirred empathetically with a thinking, processing noise. Did we steal Osiris back, or was he given to plant the seed of a trap on Neptune? With all the effort we went to, Ikora shook her head, and yet mounting a guard makes that which is guarded seem even more valuable. That too might have been a ploy. Then we are right back where we started. Officius swam back and forth in the air. It is really interesting that, like, the greatest effect. See, this is the sort of thing that I wish we got in game, right? Check raid secrets for a full transcribed PDF file. Thank fuck, man. That'll be way better. Where on raid secrets? Oh, you're beautiful. I don't know how I missed this, dude. Thank you. Nice. So it is really interesting. Okay. It is really interesting that, you know, I wish we got the stuff in game. Because it's we don't get a lot of this, you know, in game. Savathun is dead, and it's like we really haven't had much mention of her. In game has been a lot of Nezarec, a lot of Shivu Wrath, a lot of Calus, and a lot of the Witness. But the one person we haven't really been hearing a lot about is Savathun. But, you know, these behind the curtain looks into this sort of thing. Oh, I can't turn this to dark mode. Sorry. Fuck. I really wanted to for you guys. It's really interesting because it seems, you know, Savathun, even though she's dead, is still a huge influence on the Vanguard and a lot of their moves and stuff. And I just feel like that's not really reflected very well in game. It's something I'd never even considered. Yeah, like Savathun, you know, up to this point, we've all just been like, yeah, Savathun's dead. But when you come to the god of trickery, you're like, yeah, can you trust that even? That's really interesting, right? Scaro is Price is Right host Bob Barker. So all of my public accounts, I put my name as Bob Barker. It's something I've done since high school. Pretty good. So she isn't indebted as she's a light bearer, meaning she's immortal. So as long as Immortal is alive, she will never die. Yeah. So, but I mean, they're still in a state of death, right? Like they can just be brought back. Like she's not waiting in some void. She is effectively dead, and she can be resurrected again. Um, and they've kind of done the approach where, when Maru and Savathun have to come in contact in order for her to be resurrected. So they got rid of all like her skin cells and bullshit, and then they just stored Savathun in a box somewhere where Maru can't get to her. So she's effectively dead. At least our understanding is, until she's not anymore. But is that her real body? Like there's so many things. Like she is the queen of deceptions. It's really interesting. It's something that really hasn't been posed in the game. I do think she is going to come back. Like if Bungie didn't want her to come back, they would have just had us kill her. So she's clearly coming back. Will she be a friend? Will she be an enemy? I think the obvious thing is, yeah, she'll probably be a friend when she comes back. But for the Queen of Deception, it would be really interesting if we're all tricked and yeah, she's actually an enemy again. That would be really interesting. Inanna, by the way, is an ancient Mesopotamian goddess of war, love, and fertility. Oh, so they're saying like in our mythos as humans, we have a lot of versions of people trying to come back from dead or resurrect people from dead. I see. Can we link to the Reddit post? Yeah, here you go. The Nezarec Savathun series, the most solid and really cool. Do you have? Well, I don't know what theory you're talking about. All right, we'll keep going. So this is the fourth debriefing with Osiris. Contextual notes, not my finest moment. Osiris says, "What? No tea this time?" Ikora says, "Osiris, the look on your face does not reassure," says Osiris. Ikora says, "Are you all right?" Osiris says, "Of course not. You may ask a more sensible question." Ikora says, "Fine. Then let me start by saying you are exceedingly capable at the best of times and more to the point, well-versed in holding together throughout the impossible. So I must ask, are you and Saint harmonious?" Osiris says, "It is fine. Perhaps fine is inadequate. We have talked. We continue to talk. He was the first face I saw when I awoke, and for that, I'm glad." Ikora says, "Good. When she was wearing your face, Savathun was distant to everyone to an extent. We took it at the time as withdrawal ascribable to grief. Saying mentioned they had tried to reach out with limited success." Osiris says, "I remember seeing him through her eyes. I tried to call out, but he was distant. Perhaps it's for the best. I cannot recall more." Pauses, recovering self. A brief shadow, physiological signs of stress, teacup rattling, rhythm mimetic, innocuous. Ikora says, "Osiris, what you're experiencing is normal." And Osiris responds, "You speak with many who have returned lightless from hive captivity, do you?" Fair enough. Immorality says, "Mylan did a video, but in short, Nezarec has been working with Savathun since the collapse to trick the witness and is playing the long con. That's why the Lucent Brood went after the relics of Nezarec." Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, there's a lot of hints that Nezarec is either Nezarec. So Nezarec originally led the collapse, like the charge on Earth. And I think there's a lot of evidence that either him or Savathun is the reason, especially Savathun is the reason that it went bad. So yeah, if they're working together, what happens there? And what, and how do you still make that impactful if Savathun is now on our side? If we have a literal god fighting with us, how do we still get to be the hero? I'm very interested in how these things play out. Yeah. Ikora says, "What I mean is that whatever you're pressing down, and I think I know you well enough to know there is more than I've seen. It is normal to feel and not a personal failing, nor does it make you less than of yourself." Osiris says, "Ha, am I to understand this uselessness is something you expect?" Ikora says, "You are still Osiris." Osiris says, "Not to be allowed to fade in obscurity as a dour old man, Ikora responds with, "Is that what you want? I certainly don't think it applies." "I do not think I have ever truly felt my age before," says Osiris. "It is disconcerting, Ikora. Will you send agents to Neptune to look?" Ikora says, "Many are still deployed, but yes, as soon as I can justify the resources." "It isn't that I don't believe you." Osiris says, "I did not say you didn't." And Ikora responds with, "If you remember anything else in the meantime," and Osiris says, "Of course, anything you need, anything to help you justify the resources." Sheesh! "Is yikes that didn't go well better or worse than I told you so?" Ikora gave Officius a firm, meaningful stare, but it was lost on him as he was otherwise occupied with the records. "Neither is required," she said. "In any case, none of our telemetry has ever returned anything helpful regarding Neptune. Whatever Golden Age plans were made for the planet, they never reached fruition." Damn, Ikora has never been this wrong ever. So Nezarec won't be the raid boss? Oh, it might be. Who knows, man? At this point, literally anything Bungie wants to happen can happen, Someplace so innocuous would be the perfect place to hide something, wouldn't it? Officius had a sort of innocent pointedness about his tone. "It's almost too innocuous. So little interesting telemetry. You didn't seem convinced Neptune might be anything but a trap last time we spoke about it. What changed? Your opinion, Osiris said promptly. Among the rest of the data, there's one other strangeness I wanted to draw your attention to. Only one? Amusement colored his tone. I went back over the transcripts, specifically Osiris's reference to Inanna. I did a little research, and per the stories I have, Inanna never left the underworld of her own recognizance. Her life was taken back by the other gods. Well, he wasn't entirely wrong either. It was just strange. Akora tilted her head slightly, eyes unfocused with the distance of thought. I don't know how much the details matter, she said slowly, but it interests me that he fixed on Inanna after I mentioned her. I doubt ancient Earth myths are of the practical highest priority right now for him, for any of us. All true, she said, and fell silent. The ghost out remained tangible, braided alongside Akora's. Subject: conclusions about Osiris. You should consider. Oh yeah, there should be music. Oh, sorry. There. Thought I did have music. I got booted to orbit, but yes, sorry. Subject: conclusions about Osiris. I've been over the logs of our conversation several times, and I still can't come to a solid conclusion on the correct course of action. Osiris acts like any person might when struck with the incalculable grief and trauma, sometimes himself and some other times distant, sometimes reserved, and then inclined to argue just as quickly. He's self-aware at least, but in my experience, the self-aware often grow frustrated quickly if they're unable to resolve that which they are struggling against. He no longer has light nor a companion to pull him from danger and temper his most reckless instincts. This alone would make him a danger to himself, if not others in the field. It is still unclear if he is still fully free from Savathun's influence, and the question of Neptune remains outstanding. I've not yet received word from the hidden sent to sweep the most apparent locations. Clearing Osiris for fieldwork carries its own risk. Besides those enumerated above, public perception that he is fully trusted and approved of may cause backlash, foolishness, or both. Will he chafe so much at being restricted that he will simply go on his own? If that's the case, it would be better to sanction his movements, if only so that he does not waste his time concealing his presence from the vanguard. Osiris has not been able to argue around a firmly reasoned position. It seems we're both stricken by doubt. We can little stand to lose Osiris's knowledge, and I would hate to lose his friendship. I suspect in the end there will be little choice but to permit Osiris's free movement. That being said, delaying such a decision as long as possible to give him time to heal, to give us time to search, may be the best of several imperfect options. And I'm still worried. So that is the end of that one. Pretty much just reading that. Can I do this one in Dark Dots? Shit. Sorry, I really don't like reading on white backgrounds, but it is what it is. But yeah, so, you know, Osiris is gonna get cleared for field work. We've seen him on Neomuna, so we know he's going to be there. I'm very interested to see how Savathun continues to play into this thing. So, what is it they use to make dark documents dark? It's called Dark Reader. It is an add-on for Firefox. So, go to dark mode on Google Docs. Oh, how do I do that? I don't know if you can do that. Just because I don't own... Well, I can make a copy. Here, one second. Let me do this. I don't want to accidentally dox myself. Okay, here we go. So it's orange. It's a weird color, but it's much nicer on the eyes. So that is what we're gonna do for now. Settings seem dark. I have a settings. Whatever, this works. This is fine. One second. Yo, Icy, what's up, man? Hopefully you're having a good day as well. Here, I'll sit in orbit. A little bit more interesting music there. All right, so this is Caiatl's book. I am 3. My father is pregnant again. The woman standing guard over his brood bower is not my mother. My father invites me to visit him while he nurses her young, but I'm afraid to pass her. Her tusks are huge. She greets me kindly and gives me a scraping stick to scratch my father's hide. I do not understand where my mother has gone. In the stories Asya tells me, mates stay together their whole lives, but Asya is a scion. Maybe there are things about mates that scions do not know. I go into the bower and I ask my father if my mother is dead. He draws me close. He asks me to sing to my new siblings. His belly is soft and strong, fat with the brood pouches where babies grow. I watch one climb to find his teat. I know that mother and father mate, that mother gestates the young and delivers them to father's pouches, that father broods them until they are weaned. Asya taught me how the mother must stand guard while he is sessile and vulnerable. She must keep the other females away from him, lest he discard off her offspring and take on the brood of another female. I ask my father if that is really true. Can a father choose to forsake his children? Of course, my father says. That's how you know that I loved you. I could have turned you out of me, and I did not. He tickles me and I laugh. So, Cabal reproduction is about as the opposite of human reproduction, and the thought of Calus breastfeeding, not exactly what I had in mind. So, let me see, what's this look like in the book itself? Oh my god, dude, Calus has got the nipple nectar, bro. I am centuries old. I'm beating an assassin to death. Their helmet splinters in my fist. Their taunt rings in my sinuses. You are a child in a general's costume. None of the vision of your father, none of the driver's strength of the one they call Dominus. You will not be remembered. My father put those words in the assassin's mouth. He put the blade in the assassin's hand. I've been stabbed in the ribcage, but the ribs of the Cabal are a closed vault. We evolved to face our enemy. I've been shot in the arm, but I wear armor even in private. I have been shot in the head, but I have another to make a fist. Oh, in the hand. I've been shot in the hand. I was like, what the fuck? I've been shot in the hand, but I have another to make a fist. I break the assassin's skull as I broke my father's heart. I send the Enactin blade back to him, and he'll one day send it back to me. I'm 3. Are we gonna fight a pregnant Calus? Can you imagine if that's the raid mechanic? Like, Calus gives birth in the middle of a raid fight, and we have to, like, kill Calus's babies? Maybe not. You know what? Say this out loud and really thinking about it. Huh. I'm 3. Something has gone wrong between the woman and my father. I slide on my greased belly through the palace halls pretending I'm a whale kayak. Guards smile at me, and I smile back, but I keep my ear pressed to the floor. Nearby, the woman bellows in his chambers. She says that he has not kept his political promises to the ex-praetoriate families that have approved their match. He is so wounded, he says. Doesn't his luscious body delight her? Doesn't the right to fill his pouches with her young bring her joy? She says she is not a sexist, and this is not the era of lead. I got it. She worries about policy and external security, not his lusciousness. He complains that she does not make him happy. She says there's more to life than happiness. He disagrees. She calls him weak. He calls her a curse and a killer. She roars and strikes him. I gasp into the floor. It's the first time I've ever heard my father in pain. The guards stand very still. Then there's a terrible sound. I'm too young to understand it, as the sound of the father opening his brood pouches. I do not want them anymore, my father, the emperor says, quite softly. If you cannot love me, then how could they? You can find another male with open pouches, some barracks bow. Some barracks bow. My man just said, you can find a normie Andy, bitch. That's what he just said. What the fuck is this? Yes, this is from the collector's edition. He literally said you can find a fucking normal Andy, dude. But be sure, I never know him, I will not have byeblows. The large-tusked woman screams in rage. She stampedes out past the guards, past me. Her hands are full of little things. What is happening? I'm 35 years old. I have just returned to the palace for my first deployment on the cruiser Caiatl. Showering our banner in the Sindhu marches. I saw no action. I feel like a fraud. The sheltered Princess Imperial who never left the rails of her father's brood pouch. He has demanded that the Advocate General promote me to a staff position back home, and she has refused. In a tantrum, Father throws a tremendous celebration to commemorate my return. The streets of TWAB run pulpy with trampled fruit. The skies rain cloud fries stunned by fireworks. I escape my attendants and stand in the corner of the palace ballroom, drink pollen water, and pretending I'm back in my fighter. Your name is a prayer for war, the Advocate General says. I snap to attention. She laughs at me and offers a small harpoon of canapes and a cocktail with a middling-sized shrub. I decline and she tisks. You should enjoy yourself. It's your party. Although we both know it is his party. My father named me for a star, I said. Nothing to do with war. Yes, but the star Caiatl was named for a myth. Not an old homeworld myth either. A myth from the age of sails when we conquered the stars. Surely you know, assuming you've been briefed on the Oxa. Oh my gosh, do we get to find out what the Oxa means? Oh my god, yeah, we do. The Odile, Xenotaph, and Archive. Sometimes Oxta, depending on how you construct the acronym. The alien oracle that led us to the graves of Ark. Must be wary now. Oxa is a scion myth, and the scions are a sensitive topic. My father wants them free from bondage. It claimed to record the story of the galaxy and prophesize of what yet may come. Let's go. Do we get to find out who Otzot is? A black box for the galactic civilization to prefer in pilot's terms. The Advocate General nods to the pin on my right pauldron. I'm conscious of my shaved down tusks, the sores left by the fighter's interface. The doomed and the damned left the record of their downfall in the Oxa. Your star got its name from the oldest myths in the archive. And when your mother told your father that story, the star became your name. A prayer that all will go as it must, and the way it must go is struggle. Ayat, not a word in Ulurant or any other Cabal tongue, but Caiatl means something else. Yes, it may not always go as it needs to go. A good name for a soldier. A strange name for a daughter, I say. Your father chose it for your mother's sake out of love. I remain at attention. I do not look at her, so she's dead. The Advocate General looks sharply at me, and I can tell by the motion of her cocktail shrub on the edge of vision. He never told you? No. Well, she sounds genuinely shocked. Then it's not my place. Advocate General. Wait, sorry. If this whole Oxa shit is the Forerunners in Halo? No, it's not. It just seems like it's a prediction engine, I guess. Ayat is something the Hive say. That's what I was thinking too. It seems like it might be bigger than that, but I don't know. Well, she sounds... Oh, I already said that. Advocate General, a junior pilot should not address her senior officer so directly, but we are in the palace and I'm the Princess Imperial. What does your name mean? She grins. Her tusks are huge. My parents were soldiers. Soldiers know mythology too. I don't know what that means. Caiatl. Oh! Wait, what is her name? Do they ever call her just not the Advocate General? The General's name is something Wrath? Oh, did I miss that? Amun Arath? It's implied? From old lore. Oh. So, okay. Some of the lore, or some of the myths in the Oxa machine must be the Hive myths. And she got her name from the Hive God myths, it seems. So there you go. That's actually pretty cool. And it is actually really interesting that Caiatl's name has Ayat in it. That's really interesting. I wonder if that's intentional. I'm 7 years old. We are at the Brunth Bloodbath watching the games. That's a cool name, Brunth Bloodbath. Gladiators strive atop live whales drowning in a sea of wine. The defending champion, Ulurunth, pilots the whale named Denouncer from a cage of iron. Afterwards, we will see the whales rendered down, their blubber turned into candles, their hearts and sweetbreads auctioned off. My father explains to me how the rite of proving predates all of written Cabal history, how it is illustrated in the deep caves where ancient females scrape the rocks up with their tusks to make the first art. The challenging gladiator's name is Gaul. He is an outcast, as low as a slave, but he is mighty. My father admires him. I was a slave once, he tells me. He only speaks so openly when we are alone together, as if he's talking to himself. And was utterly under the control of the Praetorian. I was prince designate, and it was my job to promise a brighter future while they made their miserable progress. The empress before me was so old that her whole body was turning to bone. That's what happens to us, if we live too long. In the ancient days, those who ossified would be honored as statues and carried about the herdlands to share their final wisdom. Her ruling days were coming to a close, but the Praetoriat, those canny slave mongers, they wanted her to remain on their throne so they could avoid the chaos of a succession. They put her on a ship modeled after a land whale. Oh! Its mouth was a scoop, so it would never have to stop to refuel. They accelerated it to the edge of light and flew it to an endless procession around our worlds, so that the Empress, fossilized in slow time, would never die, so that I would never assume the throne. Oh, that's really interesting. So Calus's punishment was made, maybe we knew this, I didn't know this, was made to mimic kind of the legacy of his predecessor that he obviously didn't like. That's really interesting. That's really cool. Kind of freaky how hive culture sweeps into every other alien civilization. I mean, they are so old though, right? It kind of makes sense. Very cool. What happened to the old empress, I ask? Oh, she took her own life, I think. Who could go on living that way? Is that what happened to my mother? Patient Gaul makes his move, leaps between whales, hurls Ularinth on top of her whale's control cage, and she plunges 16 meters and vanishes into the denouncer's navel. The crowd roars. By Acreus, the announcer screams. She is into the haft. She is stuck in the whale's belly button. He has killed her. He has won the bell. My jubilant father leaves me in his box and goes down to meet this Gaul. I envy the gladiator who consumes my father's attention, and I resolve to meet him myself. And much later in my life, I will learn that the females who carved the first art in those caves were scraping lithium from the rock. It was a folk remedy for dark moods. Okay. Shiva wasn't lying. She said, as long as your people have worshipped war, you have worshipped me. Hear that with all the Oxa knowing hive nomenclature, maybe Shivu meddled with the Cabal's history. So, I mean, that could be really interesting, right? Because if Shivu gets her power from acts of war, then it makes sense that she would develop a war race. And so maybe every time the Cabal have conquered a planet, which they're known to do, maybe it's been growing Savathun's strength. It's our own version of the, so like every time the cycle on the Dreaming City completes, Savathun gets a little stronger. Maybe this is, Orcs had the, they all have tithe systems, but Orcs had a very intricate tithe system where every time his people killed anything, they would get stronger and stronger from the sword logic and it would feed up to him. Maybe that's Shivu's Arath version of this, that would be pretty cool. That'd be really cool. Can't believe Gaul threw Olarinth in his off in his cell and plummeted 16 meters through the denouncer's navel. True. So that's cool. No, the super old art from the Vanilla's Collector's Edition actually showed a Leviathan landworm that the Leviathan was based off of. So, but I think that's really interesting that his punishment ended up being like what she wanted. Yo, Evade, what's up, man? Not Dr. 9 until the 10th of March. Close. 5 weeks from tomorrow. Excuse me, holy shit. If everything goes well, 5 weeks from tomorrow. Pressure gel surrounds and fills me. Excuse me? Tiny implemented pumps circulate the gel through my lungs and sinuses through all the empty spaces of my body so that I am one contiguous, equally dense mass without difference inside me, so that there are no weak places which can break and crush. For my first time, I truly understand the Advocate General and the reason she fears my father's reforms. They create difference. Differences can be points of failure. My fighter accelerates at 30 felt gravities down through the shrieking ionosphere of a gas giant across the face of the storms below. The Sindhu escadrille flees from the idle toil, and I pursue. It is a cruiser's job to run the marathon, and the fighter's job to make the final sprint to interception. Our harrowers are not the nimble Sindhu fighters. Ours are heavy missile sleds, built for tough anatomies and roaring engines, booming ahead of cruisers to release their payloads. It is risky. Chase your prey too far before the weapons release, and you will be stranded in an unavoidable intercept vector, damned by kinematics to plunge through the Sindhu formation, clawing out with guns and CIWS, trying to survive your suicidal plummet through foes bloodied by your missile strike. I have no fucking idea what any of that means. I wonder how much different the events would have been if Caiatl didn't spare Calus. I mean, a lot different, right? That's had insane repercussions. It's kind of crazy that all of that was at least hinted at. Like, Caiatl was mentioned in the Destiny 2 vanilla stuff 5 years ago, well before she was ever in the game. Interesting. Under the string, my windman's aorta shears off his heart. I'm stronger. That's insane. I wait, crushed by the acceleration of my own ship's haste, until my missiles signal they are in the 90% bracket. I fire. The Sindhu answer with jamming, with decoys, with interceptors, and with the final close-in fire of their guns. They answer well. 6 little pinpricks of white light, 6 kills, another 3 survive, 3 against 1, and no Delta V left to maneuver. I am doomed. I do in grim and laughing. I go in grim and laughing. The idle toil recovers me 2 days later. I spill exhausted from the drained out cockpit into the arms of awaiting medics. They try to hustle me to the emergency baths. I bat them away. I rise to my feet. I roar to the gathered crew deck, all 9, all mine. And they roar with me, not adulation for the Princess Imperial, but love for their new ace. Fair enough. I'm 35. And it is later that same night of my homecoming. Molly a Molly, says my father. What does that mean? Finish off. Dude, the Cabal have got a lot of weird words, man. Just finished off his 5th tub of pulque and unbuttoned his imperial raiment. In the days of the Praetoriate, public intoxication carried the death penalty. Oh. Now my father dances among miniature fleets, overturned 2-meter models of doomsday weapons the Legion wishes to build. Plays invisible drums with his hands, stops his feet, and does the horns with his mouth. I'm not doing that. Your Imperial Majesty, Molly says. Oh, I do remember this. This is one of the people who betrayed him. Yeah. That's one of the people that betrayed him in the vanilla. I remember this now. Laughing, Your Imperial Majesty, Molly says, laughing brightly, looking furtively between my father and the icy Advocate General. Moon Narath has requested that we take a quiet moment to honor those soldiers far from the homeworld. Well, damn you, Amun, my father says cheerfully. I know what you're about. You want to drag your dour, dolorous diligence into my house of joy. You want us to remember it's you that makes it all happen, your legions and your fleets. The Praetoriate might be gone, but the Cabal is still a fighting empire, grim with the knowledge that all those who came before us were swept away by the Dark Flood, and everyone who's not fighting on your front is a scavenger. Dead weight, is that right? Your Imperial Majesties, the Advocate General says neutrally. I thought only of tradition. Oh, tradition, is it? Praetoriate tradition, like your blood etching and your provings? Damn tradition. Tradition is how the old force the young to reenact their miseries. True fucking that. Holy, Calus is spitting, dude. CIWS is short for closed-in weapon systems, basically small guns and aircraft for destroying incoming missiles or damaging other aircraft. Oh, fair enough, dude. Wonder what Cabal propaganda looks like. I bet it's wild. My father picks up a gigantic forked warship and looks through the central aperture at Amun Arath. Damn you, can't feel anything? Can't you live, Amun? I see how you prey on my daughter, you know. He snaps his jaw shut, so suddenly there is a little thunder. Your daughter seems to me a fine pilot, Amun Arath says. Oh, she seems fine to you, does she? My father's face bulges through the sun-devouring maw of the wooden prototype. The actual warship will dampen gravity with a lambda smoothing effect, so that its target star cannot hold itself together against the blast of its own heart. She meets your approval. Then, Amun, do you haunt her? Why do you steal her from me and send her to die in some churning chasm of gas giant, shattered by Sundew missiles, compressed by the depths, by the deep where the worms lurk? Isn't that what you say, Amun? In the heart of every gas giant, there's an abomination waiting to hatch. So why have you convinced my... Sorry. So why are you convinced my own daughter, my own flesh? Everyone is absolutely silent, absolutely still, to go play in the grave womb of the worms instead of being happy here on the throne world in Tor Bottle where she should share my joy. You can skip part of the book? What do you mean? This is really interesting. Bungie leaked the Lightfall boss? No, they didn't. Where? Oh, here? I didn't skip anything of the book. I don't think I skipped anything, Salmon. Did I? Oh, when I wouldn't make these noises here? No, I'm not doing that. So in the heart of every gas giant, there's an abomination waiting to hatch. Yeah, Neptune's a gas giant. Huh. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, 00. That's really interesting. I don't know. I do not speak, but I should. Father, I had a duty to people to serve. I should not speak, but I do. Sorry. Duty, duty. He hurls the motto like an accusation. Molia Moli ducks. Shayotet moves as if he will leap onto it and cover it with his body like a bomb. What you had was a voice whispering in your ear, a poison in your tea, a pox in your blanket. A lie that everything is given value by its suffering and its strife. Oh my god, Calus is spitting, dude! Holy shit. I also very much dislike that idea. That's like a very real thing, that like your life doesn't have any value unless you suffer, or that like all good things, you need to work for all good things, or whatever, right? And I think a lot of these things we tell ourselves, especially these are a lot of conceptions propagated to reinforce the conditions of the less fortunate, and I do not like that. And it seems like Calus doesn't either. Calus kind of based right now. That's all I'm fucking saying, dude. There's a pest kit of the Caiatl and Cabal on Neomuna, so maybe there's more to it than just team up with the Cabal. Yes, dude, hell yeah, Haunter. I do think suffering can build character. Yeah, sure, but a lot of things can build character, right? Suffering is not required to build character, is my point. Nor should it be. Everyone cowers before a shout, except Moon and me. I'm shocked to find that I do not fear my father, and I've listened to him cast off my own siblings. I've known him to murder beasts I love as well, but I'm not afraid of him. Oh, rest in peace, Caiatl's dog. I forgot about that, dude. I forgot about that until right fucking now. This is what matters. Not your dire legions and their grinding progress. You only exist to allow this party. This is the point. Even the drums have stopped. Huh. You can't any of you have any fun, he bellows? I've heard quieter alarms in the simulator when I fell into the dark hydrogen depths. Can any of you live? Am I the only one here who's not utterly deranged? The only reason we don't all kill ourselves is that we feel good. The only reason we do anything at all, even breathing, is that it feels nice. That's the only way the universe has ever found to make existence tolerable. The only reason to exist is that fickle little quiver of reward the brain gives us for eating, or drinking, or dancing, or working, or freeing our people from the bedamned praetoriate, or loving our daughter. That's all worthwhile. That's all that's worthwhile in life. Simulation of the three primary vagus nerves. If our whole psyche weren't built on the need for that reward, what would we be? Hive? Vex? Nothing. Cabal, I tell you. Nothing Cabal. Holy shit! Calus Doomer moment, yes. Yeah, that too, Andrew. For sure. Holy. Lightfall soundtrack will probably be the week before Lightfall. Yo, what's up, Kingslayer? How you doing? He flings out his arms to embrace us. What's the point if we can't have fun? What other point could there be? He stares straight at me, and he says, as if from my ears alone, I would have 1,000 more young if only I could have made you happy. I'm centuries old. The Scion meta concert bridges my mind to the other conspirators. Azat conducts us from her... It's Azat! From her Oxa machine replica, but it's Gaul whose bosso responds through me. He is the clean break we need, the clean break I need from the Praetorian and my father alike, the Ghost Primus who will resurrect our empire. All I have to do is play my part. But on that day, unbidden, a memory comes to me. It is not mine. It is not Umanorath's, because she never lets a stray thought slip. It is Gaul's. His fierce, acquisitive psyche wanders from its place, and I see my father weeping. I see my father confessing. And then, Gaul, I felt nothing at all. It was as if the gray stillness of my old Inui, what is that, had flocked home from the days of Pretoria and gathered in a murder above me, so that all the world's tastes and terrors were shut out by their wings. It must be a bird. I was thronged by well-wishers, and I was wrong, like a grit at the center of a pearl. My consort tried with all her art and patience to rouse me, but I would not be roused. I was alone again, save for one precious life now brooding in me. One out of all the lives we had tried to make. This one survivor, and I felt that if this daughter left me, and if she went out of me into the world, I would be nothing, utterly without sensation or reason. And when I gave birth to my daughter, my beautiful star, I felt the immovable pearl shatter around me. But ever since, I have feared that it will close again, and this time I'll have no way to break it. I thought it might be Nezarec. Why do you think that? Dude, freaking Calus is a big old softy, dude. Big old teddy bear that just happens to be trying to murder the universe too. Also, there's like a pretty large distinction, I feel like, between a lot of this and like how Calus actually, I guess this was hundreds of years ago, but how he acts now. Okay. So. Okay, we're fine. What I sense in Gaul's memory of this moment is contempt. Contempt for a man who had everything and threw it all away in pursuit of a mere sensation. But what I feel for the first time in my life is understanding. I understand my father all at once. I understand him. I'm a few days older. I'm on my knees before my father, and I mean to confess it all. I will betray all the conspirators. I will reveal their motives. Odds warning against the Chalice worshippers within. The Advocate General's wary eye on the enemy without. The Consul's longing for his blossom days when the people knew their place and he still had his manhood. Ghost Primus Gaul's brave new world of martial discipline and full spectrum dominance. The Aedil's fear for his own survival and the lictor's personal disgust. And my star, my father says, is a round silk splendor on the throne, a world unto himself. His nipples are like dark poison fruit bejeweled. I remember nothing of their taste. I don't suppose you've come home for good. I can't believe I just said that. Father, I say, I want to ask you something. He sips from a goblet, an overturned bell better than 5,000 years old. Of course, of course. What did you want when you took the throne? Want, he beams at me. Now you're asking the right questions. Not duty, but want. What I wanted, my store, was to make the world better for you. A piece of my heart wails to believe him, but I was not yet conceived. What did you want for yourself? Other than a chance to conceive you, my star? Well, he fishes around the edge of his throne, holds up something knobby and worn down. Very few Cabal have ever seen this. This is the Imperial Trinket, an ancient bone retrieved from the debris around a once radiant black hole, scholars tell me. Scholars tell me, Caiatl, that eons ago a species lived around this deepness and built an engine to trap its polar jets. But something came upon them from the dark and killed them all. I know the tale, one of the Advocate General's proofs that we must be mightier yet to survive. Of course you do. Now this bone is a predator. It feeds on the gap between what you have and what you want. Did you use it against the Praetorian? Yes. And do you know what I found? That you cannot, because you wanted nothing. I was lost, Caiatl, adrift in the fog, utterly unable to desire or need. All I could do was beat. The bone has nothing to feed on if the wielder wants nothing. Yet ever since your birth reawakened me, Caiatl, I have prized above all else the ability to want, the hunger to exist as more than a mere existence. And that is what I want now, to feel, to be more than just a being. Oh my god, he wished on the Aham Karabone right there. This is what he might have just accidentally wished on the Aham Karabone, and that's why everything happened. Because now he says this, that he wants to feel to be more than just a being, right? Yeah, it's the bone of an Aham Kara. We know that Calus has this because Caiatl shatters it on the night that they overthrow him. But he might have wished on it here, and this might be directly what leads to him becoming a disciple, because now he's objectively more than just a being. Dude, hell yeah, Dark Matter. That's awesome. What of my mother? Don't you want her back? Oh, child. He looks into his wine, into his bone, and then he begins to salivate with tears. This is how Cabal cry, passing the anguish from the brain to the bowel for digestion and expiation. She had to care for me when I was a husk of a man. I was selfish, I was cold, and I broke too much between us. And I cannot bear to hear him stumble any closer to grief. And she left, and then you found someone else. I quickly finished. Yes. I tried to find someone more appropriate to my station, but it didn't work. But at least I still have my daughter. He folds the bone away, and he smiles tenderly at me. And what is a daughter except the wish to have something to love? Oh. Well, that wish doesn't work. I'm exactly that old when I realized my father, the Emperor Calus, is full of shit. Oh my god. Fucking roasted. The selfishness of it, the pure calumny, to pretend that he did it all out of love for me, to insist that the core of his festering psyche that there is one foundational trauma that explains him. I could not feel, so now I must feel everything. I could not want, so now I'm a creature of unbridled appetites. I could not love, so oh my daughter, love me. I did it all because I was afraid to be sad. The notion that all this man's conquests and excesses could be explained by his deep fear of anhedonia is nothing but whale shit. It is base that he sets out for my heart. There will never be a moment where I understand my father. I already understand him. There will never be a final reconciliation. I'm already reconciled. He is what he is. He was made by the Praetoriate, and he has made of it his empire. He made me, and now I must make something of myself. I already know my father. I know him because he spent his whole life showing me who he is. The universe is not explained by the psychic terrain of a knowable few. The cosmos is not subject to the detrite interior struggle for to heal or self-actualize or escape some old wound. The Praetoriate did not fall because it depressed my father, but because he undermined their political control of the legions. Gaul did not rise because of his burning will to conquer, but because he is the perfect plow for a Revoncus consul and a militarist Evoca general to throw their might behind. The Sindhu do not rebel because of their soaring need for freedom, but because we exploit their worlds for fusion fuel and antimatter. Atsat does not fear the Scion emancipation because she loves slavery, but because her class's power depends on their moderating position between the Cabal rulers and the subject masses. Oh my goodness. And my father does not deserve to be overthrown because I'm nothing to him except his wish for someone to love him more and more and more. He deserves to be overthrown because he is a bad emperor. Oh my goodness. So I'm exactly that old when I close my mouth and say nothing at all of the coup to come. The weak wish for someone to love them. The wish with the hunger of a whale to be loved and their need to grow in proportion to that hunger. Strong work to be worthy of love. I will not be weak. Holy shit. Yeah. I'm as old as I've ever been when I record these memories. Torabottle is lost. Fallen is not to the frontier threats. Fallen not to the frontier threats. Amun Arath obsessed over, but the dark gate of her own obsession. Gaul is gone, consumed by the god he sought to usurp. Adile and Moli and Lictor Shioter are dead, claimed by the same assassin Calus now sends after me. He even had his favorite tea seller murdered. Oh god. Calus is no longer my father. As I write this, I am playing a little game that my troops will love. We draw imaginary legions from rosters of real maniples and centuries. The performance of these units, in reality, determines the success of the imaginary legion. They're playing fantasy, dude. We drop imaginary legions from rosters. Yeah. They're playing fantasy Cabal ball. After you finish the Caiatl book, you could give a quick summary of the Osiris one. Yeah. I'll do that. That's pretty cool. I play this game under a private name. I play it very well despite fierce competition. The Legionaries joke that losing the homeworld was worth it just to shake up the game. Morale is high. Calus could not have played this game because he values nothing except himself. In the end, the selfishness will destroy him. He preaches of a contracting universe with himself at the center, a glorious tide of night that will reveal his grandeur when the final fixed axis of it all. But the moment will come where he will see that he's not at that pole, that he's off on the edge, the dark is rushing over him, and he will be undone. Whether or not I'm there to see it makes no difference. I have people to lead. Okay. That was really good lore. That was really, really, really good lore. Lots of stuff about... Oh, fuck yeah, this one works. Lots of great lore about the Cabal. We know their reproductive cycle, and we know that that Calus has really great nipples, I guess. The Osiris one was essentially a couple of conversations between Ikora and Osiris, and the core message was, can we trust that Savathun is actually dead? Was this all planned, and is she planting a trap by telling us about Neomuna, or, letting Osiris kind of know about Neomuna? Or is that something Osiris wasn't supposed to know, and that's actually a kind of backup plan she has against the Witness, because she really is scared of the Witness. And so there was kind of like Ikora and Osiris discussing that, but also it was Ikora seeing if Osiris was like fit to go back into the field. So this one I'm very excited about. This one is Elsie's. Here's the cover of it. Here's the cover of it. It's got a little puka fish on it. So very excited for this. Okay. Not the nipples. Okay. It was a small ship and, by hope more than reality, a quiet one. She had intended it just for herself and perhaps Anna, if things went well this time around. Elsie could deal with the chaos that her little sister injected in her life, but today chaos took the form of a curious ghost, not grasping the concept of keeping things in their proper place. Toki, Elsie sighed, brushing the phase couplers back into their labeled bin and securing it. You cannot just rifle through my workbench. Some of this equipment is dangerous. I checked the labels very carefully, Miss Bray. The ghost poked her gleaming eye out from under a spare length of photovoltaic cloth. Capacitors, couplers, and oscillators decorated her shell in a tasteful pattern, but I needed new components, and you took apart my old shell. Because your old shell was made of unstable nanomachines that it could have eaten you. Well, perhaps, but I still can't float around. She lowered her tone to a scandalous whisper, naked. Elsie supposed it made sense and then sighed again. Modesty shouldn't mean much to a metal skin, but she still wore clothes century after her own exo-conversion. Many days, her own presentation, her emotions, her volume, her gestures, and yes, even her clothing, was the fulcrum on which her self-control pivoted. You still shouldn't make a mess of other people's things, she finally relented. I may need those parts for repairs. It only took the broken things Toki spun in front of a porthole, admiring her reflection. You don't seem like the type to collect broken things. Elsie prepared to double down, but her train of thought derailed as she looked up to see her surreal alien passenger slither its way into the compartment. Cutting through the air with the beta fish's grace, the alien examined Toki's scrap parts with 6 glittering eyes, and Elsie felt wonder and discomfort creep into her as she watched. The alien, the fish for the lack of a better word, had lived alone on that abandoned Ishtar space station beyond Uranus for who knew how long before Toki had found it, and Elsie in time discovered Toki. Elsie assumed a human had brought the fish. After all, the station had shown signs of habitation in the last decade or so by someone human, or at least close enough to it. The uncertainty ate at her because she knew everything about her future. Her fate demanded understanding all possible influences of the coming conflict. She convinced herself that the only victory could break her free of these hellish time loops, whether it meant the grand victory against the Pyramid Fleet or the personal victory of saving her sister, but she wasn't sure. In certainty, that was the fly of her ointment, and she was certain of nothing when it came to Toki's strange friend. Okay, so we're getting some fish backstory. Let's go. Elsie naked? No, her ghost, Toki, or this ghost, Toki, was naked. We've never seen this ghost, right? So Puka are aliens? Yeah. Elsie sat, and the tension in her servos began to slacken. Exos didn't breathe, but a long exhale was as good for the mechanical soul as the organic. An electronic tittering brought her back to the moment. Toki swiped her fins up, and the eel-like alien followed her movements, turning a loop in the air. The ghost swept her gaze back and forth, and again the creature followed, rolling left and then right. And a thought suddenly occurred to Elsie. Toki, did you teach your friends these tricks? Toki turned a barrel roll and laughed as her companion followed. No, it just knew all this when I found it. Leaning in close, Elsie reached towards the fish, and the creature dutifully slid into her palm. She turned the form over, then again, digital eyes scanning every detail of the silicate body. Below the head, she found a word etched in the same careful hand that described the destroyed weapon they found near the creature's nest. Puka, like the fairy? Is that your name or your species? I think it's a lovely name, Toki offered. Puka only rubbed his face into Elsie's waiting hand, demanding attention. Oh, that's fucking cute. Oh my goodness. Oh, the deluxe edition shell? Yeah, I'll take a look at that after this. We'll read that real quick. You were a pet, Elsie gave the shiny carapace a scratch, triggering a wave of purrs. Puka's 6 eyes focused independently up at her and glittered. Someone taught you those tricks and then left you. Isolation. Do not mourn your sister's abandonment, Elizabeth. They are small minds. I know grandfather's words make sense, but that doesn't sate the hollowness gnawing inside my chest. I set the stylus down, plant my hands against the desk, and take a long, ragged breath of recycled air to silence the scream I need to unleash. The feeling passes, I retrieve the tool and return to business as usual in the lonely European lab. I am in control, even when I know that changes nothing. Elsie gasped and stared. Did someone teach you that trick too? Puka tilted his eyes clockwise and then counter. Clockwise and counter. I'm confused. Did it just like read her fucking mind? Fuck just happened there? Yeah, but that was like 2 years ago, so I'm not betting on it, but that would be awesome. I do want a Puka ghost shell. That would be awesome. It showed her a memory? Oh, okay. Without Toki and her off-key humming, the ship felt emptier. Puka had chosen to stay behind and chosen Elsie for reasons that escaped her. The alien's background noise filled in some of the gaps left in Toki's absence, but it didn't seem like enough to overcome the lonely thrum and ring of the engines. Wait, who the fuck is this? Oh, I understand. Okay, this is still Elsie. Where did Toki go? It was remarkable how quickly the alien became obnoxious, especially when upending Toki's treasure canister in the minute Elsie left the curious beast unattended. She shooed the slithering creature away and, loss. I still know my partner is out there. I can feel us moving away from them, Toki comments. I'm an idiot for expecting a ghost to stay anywhere but their guardian's side for long, but this stop on Titan to replenish the deuterium tank was supposed to be simple. Toki's goodbye blindsides. Stop that, Elsie exclaimed to shove Puka aside to tidy the mess once again. Each etched a diode and bit of cowling landed harder than necessary on the old ration canister. Puka retreated into one of the upper lockers and huffed with sounds that could have been sadness or anger. My head is messed up enough without you digging around in there to win an argument. She felt silly lecturing an alien lecturing an alien being like Mother once lectured her Pomeranian. If the creature understood, the 6 glassy eyes betrayed nothing. Elsie pressed the tension lid close again. I'm sorry. Loneliness. You can make jewelry with them or give them to friends. Toki, I don't want your garbage. I just don't want you to feel bad. Where I'm going will be very dangerous, and leaving is the best. You leaving is the best for both of us. I understand why you need to say that. Puka chirped, now pushing into Elsie's hands and turning its back to Toki's treasure canister. Fondness. I turned over the bolt strap in my hands again. The laser carved loops and swirls lend to the ceramic and organic grace. I admit it, you're pretty good at this, you little troublemaker. It cooed and coiled. Guilt. Toki refuses to speak, and maybe I realize I deserve it this time. No fish, you need to. Rejection. No. Oh my god. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't speak French. No. I'll torture ma fille aussi. Is that French? I don't fucking know if that's French. I have no idea. Elsie, say it's not you. Say it's not. Say he hasn't locked you up in that walking lazaretto to die. Feel my mother's horror at the sight of me as a pressure, a stage instruction more than a emotion. Oh, this is like when her mom first saw her as an exo. Oh, Inshallah. Oh, this is not French. Oh, it is French. So this says, I'm fine. I'm not like my father, inshallah. What does this mean? He tortures my daughter too, is that what that means? Stop. That's kind of cool, dude. I want a little fish. Is the material that makes up Quicksilver Storm a different version of Siva? It is. It has been implied that is a more advanced version of Siva. Yes. Therapy fish? Yeah, for real. Elsie's legs gave out and her body shook there on the floor where she landed hard. Puka shrieked and wrapped itself behind the discarded tin of treasures. How dare you? She struggled to her feet and the world spun. With 3 gentle steps, she felt her vision settle, felt the cool, firm steel of the deck beneath her, and the gentle thrum of the ship's vibration up through her ankles, her knees, and into her chest. And in the weak of pace, the sorrow bubbled up. Elsie wasn't sure how long she had cried. The dry mechanical sobs of her inorganic frame were timeless, a mimeograph of relief, but in the end, she found herself propped up, back against the bulkhead, and letting the thrum of the ship serve as her Sat's heartbeat. Her companion wiggled under her arms and looked up. She sensed a faintness, a wisp of connection like smoke in her peripheral vision. Concern. Flash drops of rain passed by, but I don't notice anything behind the ladybug toppled by the rain spout. The stillness of it, as Willa takes it in her hand, it finally kicks and rights itself. I squeal. Elsie, focus. I thought you were dredging these up, but you're not, are you? She considers her own questions and rubbed the creature's cheek, what passed for a cheek, with her thumb. She lifted Puka to her face. Something pressed at her mind beyond the creature's vague look of confusion, a familiar contour, emotion begging for context, satisfaction. Satisfaction, the sparrow's engine shudders and spews steam before finally buzzing to life. It drifts lazily off the block, and I can't stop smiling even though I know the Goofy's grin. You're shaping whatever you feel, she mused, and her mind drifted back to the warm beaches with Willa and Alton, their tiny footsteps slowly filling with saline from the warm, wet sand. Nature abhors a vacuum, and my heart fills up. That could be dangerous, she realized. Puka chittered happily as Elsie began stroking the silicate head. But you wouldn't be someone's pet if you were dangerous, would you? Elsie's mind wandered back to the lonely space station where he found the curious creature, of the enormous human handprint left behind, and the titanic rifle that Toki had scavenged to dress herself. So why does the person who needs a giant gun also keep a little sidekick fish that makes you feel memories? Elsie planted her feet apart again and braced herself one more time. Evolution kitbashed the human mind, rebuilding arboreal rodents foraging for nuts into screaming, tailless apes at the helms of starships. But for all the miracles it performed, the Pleistocene hardware of the brain was bound by its physical limits. Memories were nothing but a pathway of nerve impulses stored as electrical signals, dancing across them in recall and atrophied by neglect. Even without considerations of size, the sapient mind could only think about so much in a given day, limiting the span of human experience to perhaps a few hundred years. Big hand, yes. So I think Cloud Striders are big. I'm wondering if the rifle it scavenged was like a, Cloud Strike type of, not a Cloud Strike, Quicksilver Storm. Pretty interesting. The dirty secret of those who survived the collapse is that none of them, from Drunken Exo to Celestial Queen, remember every detail. They remember moments, minutes, hours, whatever left deep enough scars that they couldn't help but run fingers of the mind across them every morning. Neglect rendered everything in between, weeks, years, decades, into murky depths explored by only bare books on the thinnest emotional filaments. Elsie's time loops compounded the problem. Her head locked away an order of magnitude more memories than any living human being, and each plunge backwards through causality blurred those details, like jolting from a night of terror. Only the final moments stood out with sharp relief each time she restarted. Untangling the mess of cause and effect, sorting where she went right and what needed to change. It ate away at her precious few decades before everything collapsed and she would begin the process anew. Oh, wow. So she doesn't get to pick where she starts. She starts like, so it seems like she lives like hundreds of years every single time she does this cycle. Are you talking Are we talking about a giant tormentor shadow, or is this something else? No spoilers. I just want to know. Are we just talking about giant tormentor in like a red room? Because I addressed that a couple months ago. It always starts supposedly at Cade's inauguration to the Vanguard. Self-Warrior's video is literally just Savathun concept art from 2 years ago. Oh, fair enough. That's wild, man. Wait, why would they... Why? No. But this... Why would Cade be, Oh, before the collapse. No. Well, Cade shouldn't exist yet, because it's before... It ate away at her. Precious few decades before everything collapsed. It ate away at her precious few decades before everything collapsed and she would begin anew. Oh, it's a... Okay, never mind. Okay. I understand. Now I understand. So it's where... She has like 20 or 30 years to fix the cycle. But still, that's a lot, dude. A decade is 10 years. Yeah, I understand. I thought he was saying that it put her back a few decades before the collapse. But she means the second collapse. Now I understand. That was my bad. Any tool that let her trawl memories from that lost place, even at random, was a tool worth mastering. Elsie set her feet apart and let the ship's thrum rise through her body again. They had dabbled with a dozen emotions that help her drive into precious loops, through lines on which to string lost context. She found that emotions sparked by failure, rage, despair, rage, fear were best for the work, and the worst for her. She thought back to a memory with no amount of resets could hope to scrub. Her first memory as an exo, a frail old man unwound like a blanket of organic human chaos, laid in tiny lines by precise mechanical hands, and of her own overriding need to end the brutality before she understood she was saving the real monster. Dread filled her. Her companion tasted it and fed it back over and over, one loop of memory after another. Despair. So this is the honor of the Braves, Zavala spits at me. His working hand reaches for a Targe, that's Zavala's ghost, reaches for a connection to his god even after it abandoned him. The ghost lies cold and dark. Cade was right to put a bullet through Anna. I only wish I'd let him end you too. Oh god, fucking damn, dude. So this is an alternate timeline where Anna went bad. We're past bravado, I explain as the fire dies in my soul. There's only one step left before this ends. And what is that, stranger? I placed the rifle barrel to his forehead. Mercy. Nothing. Oh my god, dude. She murdered Zavala in this one too. Despair. I can't let you stop us, Ikora declares with a chill that rocks even me. I feel the pulse of her void shudder in my chest, spilling fluids and triggering dozens of status alarms. Not when we're this close. No. Despair, what have you done? I scream as Morosov's body drops lifelessly to the ground. Elsie, listen to me. This was necessary. The darkness cannot thrive where believers of the light remain. There's a world beyond this conflict. Let's go there together, Anna pleads. This is not the way, I cry and ready my stasis. Stasis had a name. That power she felt herself wielding in lives long past. The knife that could cut the darkness. Her mind began to spin, and Elsie consciously planted herself in the present once more. Her sensors registered the hydrocarbon lubricants and distinctive thiol polymers of ship life. She pushed away the shape of concern Puka pressed into her soul before it could replace this filament she'd hunted for again. Oh my goodness! Exclamation point Discord. Holy. I just had a massive realization. A leak mentioned Cade returns, but not in the way we expect. Okay, we don't discuss leaks, so I'm gonna remove that. We do not talk about leaks on this channel. Also, I on very good authority that like everything's bullshit. So, okay, what are your thoughts on the Tormentor? I'm excited to see it, man. How did I learn stasis? Elsie cupped her curious pet. It blinked erratically, one eye, then three, then two. The fish wanted to help, even if it didn't understand of what or how of it. Elsie tried to conjure up the feelings behind her earlier visions, the desperation and fear and loathing in the moments before killing her own sister. They brought her back, and shames in timelines best left forgotten, and no closer to stasis. That's really interesting. This is actually really cool. Elsie's pass loops would make a good show. So there is that game that was really popular last year where you're like an assassin and you had to do things differently every time. And like the end of the game was like time. It was like a time loop game. A Destiny version of that with Elsie going through this would be fucking insane. Deathloop, yeah. Imagine a Deathloop game, but with Elsie. Puka slithered under her chin, clicking and cooing. You were trained for this kind of work, weren't you? Some kind of, she struggled for a clever analogy. Field therapist? Trained you to soothe, maybe work with exposure therapy? She stroked absent-mindedly at Puka's smooth body, losing herself in, hey kitty, you're my little Puka. Oh, okay, you can go on the lap. Sorry, kitty distracted me. She stroked absentmindedly at Puka's smooth body, losing herself in possibility the way she had unlessed herself since the European think tank. Plunging people into their nightmares again and again must be nightmare. I was a fool to ever place my trust in you, Eris, the nightmare of Ariana 3 bellows. You watch the hive unmake us one by one, and then you bow to their god to save your own flesh. Indecision grasps Eris Morn as her doubts overwhelm her, so I dig deep and focus. The bitter alkaloid sensation creeps up my throat. I call up my stasis and drive it across the battlefield, entombing the haunted vision. Her detractor paralyzed, Eris turns back to me with a shred of control. It seems I'm not the only one carrying secrets. We'll discuss it later, I promise. First, we need to get out of. So, I guess the Exo Stranger was the first one to figure out how to use stasis? That's really interesting. Oh, hi, kitty. Poke your nose up. Be cute for chat. That's really cool. Sorry. Puka shivered against her chest as she probed at the creature again, losing herself in the sensation. Her companion pressed the shape of the lingering flavor in her heart, and it rushed to fill the indentation. Alkaloid. I let the sensation fade and noticed the acerbic tightness in my chest fade as well. Now you try. Eris breathes, draws out a fragment of stasis from the shard, and with a gesture, she redirects the energy outward, and a thin spire of crystal erupts from the lunar regolith. Holy fuck, dude. Quick study, I comment. It is not so dissimilar from how I control the hive magics. The stasis of yours is less refined, but considerably more, she paused to think, overt. Elsie tries to probe the memory of sensation again, but Puka dozed quietly. She let herself nap there against the deck with Puka, and her memories opened of their own accord. She dreamed of blue light falling like rain and tearing the last city to flender. But she needs to chill in the fancy words, yeah. Tickling the sleeping dragon's tail, bygone scientists called it. Elsie planned to delicately probe the apocalyptic edges and prayed they wouldn't awaken. Alkaloid, for just a moment, it all threatens to run away from me, but I choke back the tears and bury them. Without the cloud of emotions, blipping sideways from St. 14's grenade is second nature. I whip a spike of stasis past his head and pierce Geppetto. The ghost shrieks as it falls to the ground, and Saint's attention breaks just long enough to snare him from a timeless prison. Oh my gosh, I bury a deeper focus. My love, Osiris focuses, hurling a gout of solar to herd me left. I drive right into the flames. There is no pain, no heat. I fix my sights on this combatant's foreign shore and nothing else. Osiris is a barrier to that journey, and so I drive that control deep into his heart. I feel the stasis vibrate. Clanging off the warlock's light, I bury the feeling, focus, but the echo doesn't stop. Numb stillness still tickles my finger and toes as hoarfrost begins to consume me. I push down the misery, the isolation. Focus only, maintain. It creeps up and I feel the radial area in me seize. Not the timeline she needed, she realized. Elsie shook off the memory of an infinitely long and short decade spent in an icy prison. She found her feet and grounded herself in a thrum of the engines before turning once more to her strange companion. She remembered licking her lips long ago when she had them and called that memory back, along with the acerbic taste of stasis. Alkaloid. I put another round through the motionless hydra. It shatters like glass. I know this, I muttered, picking up the broken spine and watching it sublimate into ether. I have no doubt, Osiris responds. His rime-caked hands crackle and pop. I saw glimpses of you wielding this power during my time in the Infinite Forest. This is what drove me to seek it out here after orcs corrupted Sagira. What? Oh my god, dude, there's some crazy timelines. What the fuck? It proved a simple skill, he continues as the pyramid slides and shifts to create a hallway. I'm already well practiced in manifesting my will, no matter the obstacle. The emotional thread unraveled in a storm of dry lectures, and the link dissolved. With barely a moment to study yourself, Elsie plunged into the acerbic sensation again. Alkaloid. This is a power that has made its home in your heart before. Aramis strokes my cheek, and I can feel the chill through insensate steel and ceramic. Have I been saying ceramic? I think I have a couple times. Ceramic, my bad. You must open yourself to it, lure it with honeyed words, and once it is within your grasp, coil around it and crush its will within your own. I thrust my hand against the crux again, push the pain aside, and there's no whine or crack of metal shearing in absolute zero. There's only what needs doing. Puka broke the link as Elsie began screaming. It took another hour of listening to the ship around her, losing herself in here and now before she could try again. Alkaloid, my first bolt of stasis halts the Taken midway through his charge. Excellent, Maurer comments. You know this dance like you're born to it. Again. She parts her hand and then calls 3 more of her Taken servants to fight. My mind rushes to the crux once more, and I feel every sense within, shutting out the taste, smell, feel, sound of the real world and what I need, the crux. Holy fuck, man. It's crazy. Elsie felt nightmares manifest long before she saw it. The European pyramid pressed shapes into her heart the same way Puka would, but the molds it cast were deeper and more urgent. The worst part of her soul rushed to fill the hollow. Still not tired of this, Elizabeth? Red mist congealed into Anna's form? Red mist congealed into Anna's form. The wound in her ethereal chest dripped and smoldered. You are not real. All that mattered was the crux. Elsie's vision had revealed the how. All she needed now was enough substance in her present time and flesh to flesh out that buried muscle memory. I'm more real than the carbon copy sister you think you'll save this time. Nightmare's wound snaked up to manifest a fractured skull. How many dead Annas am I made from? 10, 12? Are we counting them all or just the ones you killed personally? Is it really interesting that they're on the European pyramid, right? And it still has nightmares. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, 00, that's what I just said, yeah. Breaking the nightmares bond was easier than it should have been. The pyramid's gift for constructing this revenant was a grand imitation of Puka's gift. Elsie felt like any link to her sister, even her own self-loathing wearing an Anastasian mask, would have been harder to unravel. The nightmare dissolved back into warm mist. She took a second to feel Puka shiver beneath her cloak, appreciating the tactile feeling. It's okay, she comforted. The pyramid slid doors in realigned hallways, trying to keep her from its beating heart. She knew she was here too early this time. She walked these halls time and time again to pull stasis from the crux, like an Excalibur of personal hell, but always someone had found it first. Always they taught her the secret she already knew. Always they fell to the seductive whispers on the other side, and she stood as a lone soul uncorrupted by the exposure. Or at least she was the only one who recalled feeling guilt for allowing it. Puka led the way. It could sniff out the stagnant pools of darkness as easily as it could root out Elsie's buried emotion. Trauma smelled the same whether it was in the heart or hanging in the air, Elsie supposed. Dream logic and half-forgotten memories made for a passable map of Elsie's mind, and despite the structure's efforts, she found her way to the pyramid's heart and to the empty plinth where the crux should have stood. Finally ahead of the game, and still too late. Shock had taken a hold. Elsie wasn't sure how long she spent staring into the shadows. The gentle sound of tapping like steel wrapping against stone guided her back to reality. When awareness finally crept up from the subconscious to conscious mind, she turned to watch Puka shove and roll an iron scrap across the floor. Is there anything you won't make into a toy, Puka? But Elsie felt the shadows grow long as she walked over to investigate. The scrap glistened wrong when their flashlights beamed, and then she bent down close. The iron, no not iron, something not quite metal, was cold in a way no physical object should be. The crux was broken. Or maybe was never whole in the first place, in the way that solid matter should be. The shard that remained in the darkness, just a fraction, but to someone who had spent a dozen hazy lifetimes mastering how to use darkness, it was an oasis of endless expanse of light. She reached her will into the shard, and a part of her reflexively shuddered, awaiting for a pain that never struck or sound that was never heard. She pushed back against her mental recoil and touched deeply familiar cold. It tickled and clawed and begged something intangible from her, but Elsie closed her mind to anything except her true purpose. In her heart of hearts, the wall of blue-tinged facets is already there. It only took concentration to make it reality. Focus. The will of the Bray is the true fundamental force in the world, grandfather intoned, pulling me upright. My twisted ankle screams, but I stay silent. I can be a Bray. Now walk. Her foot caught in place. A gleaming layer of stasis allowed her heel, her foot, her leg. She wouldn't lose control. Focus. It sped up and across her torso, consumed her shoulders. No, not coldness or numbness, just emptiness. Puka sat in her immobilized hand, gazing at her and blinking erratically. Elsie was in control. A Bray alone can master this. The stasis swallowed her head, and in a moment stretched out forever, too tight. Tight. Oh, daughter, mother squeezes me. You can't make them love you, Insala. You have to let go. The horror consumed her as easily as the stasis. She felt like a frightened child cast loose in the wind, alone. Every assertion Kontrol met by a temper tantrum in the face of a hurricane. Inshallah. She half remembered her mother's words and let go. The crystalline prison shattered. All right, last page. Holy. So I think what's going on is Elsie used the Puka to pull off a sequence break in the timeline for Master Stasis any % run. Yeah, so it seems like a big part of what Elsie thinks is kind of controlling this is when she learns how to use the darkness. And so this timeline that she's in now might be ours. She learned it the earliest. Hopefully that fixes it. Elsie sat in the dim silence for she knew not how long. Puka wrapped itself around the mechanical arm and purred, but Elsie couldn't find the will to nuzzle back. Excuse me. Instead, she carefully wrapped the shard in her hood and tucked it securely back into her pack. Words hadn't saved her or her mother's faith. It was then she realized stasis thrived off of her need for rigid order, to fit foregone conclusions and scientific principles into the messy abstract of creation. And when she lost herself to purpose, stasis happily consumed all she was, only the briefest admission that the universe was outside her influence. Surrender broke her bonds. Stasis wasn't the sum total of darkness any more than Arc was of light. It was an aspect, a shape, and a tool. Every sword was made from iron, but not all iron was made from swords. Stasis was the tool forged by Kontrol and focus, and to her shame, she couldn't imagine what else could spring forth if any other force in the cosmos drove her forward like a singular need for control. What other abilities, what shapes and tools would be forged by deference, or compassion? What could she have done, she realized in dawning horror, if she loved and relied on Anna beyond the way she needed to control Anna? Dread crawled up her spine, but she knew what she needed. Allies to control, beyond her control. Allies who were versed in the darkness as well as the light, who could take her secrets of stasis to the light bearers at large. Teach 100 or 1,000 souls to forge iron into a sword, and maybe one will figure out how to make a plowshare too. She never tried it before. It was something new. And perhaps Anna knew where there was a place for her saved on Elsie's ship. So now we learn Strand. Pretty cool, man. So with all the stuff with darkness and consciousness, Egregore Strand, I wonder if the Puka emotional powers will have any story relation. Almost certainly they will. Holy shit. Okay, well. Good lore, man. Lots and lots of very good lore. All around. Yeah, man. I hope there's an ARG. Me too. I'm really holding out for one. We'll see. You know, we'll figure out in the upcoming weeks. All around, really good stuff. So my collector's edition should get here next week. So I'll, of course, do a video unboxing it and showing it off and stuff. That's how I always do. I need a break because my voice is about to fucking die. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, man. That was a lot of fun. I love these yearly lore stream things. They're always a lot of fun. But it was good, man. And Bungie, as always, killed the fucking lore. So really cool. This weekend, we'll probably do a catch up on seasonal challenges stream. And then next week, you know, we'll figure out some stuff to do. Hopefully there's some stuff we can farm or something. So thank you everyone for hanging out. Love your faces. Yeah, have a great night. I'll see you guys very soon. And yeah, peace out, everyone. See you guys.